I think we're live now. Yes. No more
Yay!
song audio. What's up, Kimberly St. John?
What's up, Wes? I'm so happy to see you again.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you. Let's see. For anyone tuning in now, live or later on the podcast through Apple Podcasts, I'm not actually broadcasting from San Diego today, although I suppose the show is based from there. But I'm in Guadalajara, Mexico today, so I have this super fancy green wall behind me. And no,
Nice.
it's not a green screen. And Kimberly, you have the cool background today, so I like it. What is that?
Cool piece of artwork. I have some art. This piece of art, actually, it's by these guys. I should have done my research a little before. But it's Brandon and his business partner painted this. I actually bought this from them
Cool.
right a year or so ago. I just think it's a really cool piece of art.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Well, as far as the intro goes, Wes Smith Variety Show episode 75.
Sweet.
I'm psyched. 75 episodes. We're now on the downhill or uphill slide, I guess, to 100. Um,
Yay!
yeah, and you're 75. That's a nice round number, huh? So that's
Yeah.
cool. Real quick, a couple things coming up for me, and then we'll get you a few there, Kimberly. A couple things coming up for me, real quick. We are in a new year, so the Juice Night Out. It will be number 4. No, 5. Sorry, 4 were out last year. 5. The 5th one will come out soon. I promise I'm going to try to get it out in January. It's done and all that good stuff. And that's music that's for sale. Yes, there's still some music for sale. And then the
I
song.
buy music.
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about that some too. That's awesome. And then the song, the little edit mashup. I don't sell those; those are just freebies. But that Electric Avenue mashup, I did. That was the one from the poll. I had one from Fatboy Slim. Everybody loves a 303, and or needs a 303, and then Electric Avenue, and the vote was for Electric Avenue. So there you go, folks. You can
Oh,
you
you
can grab
cannot
that.
go wrong with Electric Avenue.
You can, yeah. So you can grab that. Anyone that wants it can grab that now or later through the westsmith.com/downloads, or you can just, if you're subscribed to the podcast, which gets published in a couple days, then that'll be there too. So that's kind of what I got
Really good
going
to
down,
that out as
Kimberly.
well.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got going down music wise right now. Kimberly, what about you? What's going on? What's coming up? Events, things like that.
Oh gosh, I've been busy. It's been really fun. Actually, let's see. I've been playing out quite a bit, which
You
I'm really
have.
grateful for. Yeah, I just played last night, and then I played the night before. I played last night at a really fun club here in Denver called Triangle
Okay.
with the Bad Astronauts, which is a Burning Man camp. Really cool guys. Just yeah, so it was so much fun. So one of the main DJs his name is Dugan, Chris Dugan, but he goes by Dugan, and he was booked to play there last night, and he decided, you know what, we've got some great DJs, with the camp, and let's just have a bunch of people play and just friends, play and have fun. And so we did a whole kind of back to back. Well, we kind of got our own slots, but then we played back to back some too. So that was last night, and it was so much fun. We played some really just fun, funky, dancey, housey, funky house stuff. It was really fun. And then the night before that, I did an event with Soon Collective, which I'm a part of. Here in Denver, we played a show at Yeah Baby Denver, which is a fairly new spot that's really gaining popularity. A lot of people have been going there and really liking it. So that was the night before last, and that was a really fun show too.
Yeah, I heard you mention, and I have to give a little props out with some of the discussion today to the Morning Wood podcast kids, because
Yeah.
I copped a few tidbits of your conversation with them. But since you mentioned that, and that's where I heard you mention the Yeah Baby. But for anybody who knows me and doesn't know Kimberly, or knows Kimberly and doesn't know me, Kimberly and I know each other. I guess we really know each other by way of Burning Man through Camp Charlie, huh?
Yes, which I'm actually wearing my T-shirt right now.
Yeah. That reminded me of that. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been what, like 2016, 17,
I
16?
think so. So I got let's see, 2017, because I went the last 2 years in a row. I went 2017 and 2018. And I think you've been camping with them, or you did camp with Camp Charlie Unicorns years back.
I did five. I've been to Burning Man 5 times, so I did the first 3 with Camp Charlie. So probably 16 or 17, I would have seen you some if you were there. 17, probably, I guess.
Probably 17 then,
Yeah.
And then we happened to run into each other last year, totally randomly, when we were eating lunch or dinner.
after I defected from Camp Charlie.
Yeah.
Did you know? Yeah, we were. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we were eating at Big Imagination. We'll just leave it at Big Imagination. Then most people probably won't know what camp that is. Mm-hmm. We'll hit it later. But that's cool. Yeah. So that was a good time. So anyway, back to your. That's how Kimberly and I know each other. And a lot of people that have, Kimberly, for you, a lot of people that have listened to these episodes, they know that, really, well, the reason I started this 5 episodes ago now was because 2015, I guess, I had traveled quite a bit. I did I think 50 plus gigs, all traveling, so that's a lot in general. And it was definitely a lot for me. And there were a lot of interesting things behind that, which is not the subject of today. But that was when I started the podcast, because I would meet people like you, for example, somewhere for a day or two, and then kind of never see them again. And then we'd be like, hey, let's get back together and talk. Yeah, totally. So back on to you. The couple things that stood out to me, you were talking about, Yeah Baby, and some of the Rhino District, I think you said. Did I get that name right? Is that Rhino District?
Yeah, that's the area of Denver.
Okay.
It's called the Rhino District of Denver, okay. RINO. It's really funny because I'm actually from Denver originally. I was born and raised here, and then I moved to LA for 10 years, which is how I have the whole LA connection. And then I lived in San Diego for quite some time as well, before I moved back here about a year and a half ago. So it's kind of all come full circle for me here.
Did the West Coast, did you burn out on the West Coast, or just that much in love with Denver?
I wouldn't say that. I think every time, because I have family back here, so every time I would come back to visit family, I liked it more and more. And I saw how much the music scene was growing here, and I'd go to fun shows every time I'd come back to visit, and what, Denver's really, really fun and growing. And then it just, circumstances in my life happened to where I just thought, what, I think I'm gonna move back to Denver, and then worst case scenario, I can always move back to California or wherever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I just made the move, and it's nice to be closer to family here, and it's been way better than I even thought. I mean, geez, I got to know a couple of people. People are so friendly and so supportive here, I find, and I'm so thankful for that. So I've really been having fun with playing out here quite a bit.
Yeah, and I definitely want to hit on the couple newer things that you've got going on there. Not necessarily going in any chronological order, but one thing that I definitely wanted to ask you about, which I thought was pretty cool for a number of reasons, was I believe you said it was Off-World Music. Was that right? That was a label that you had at one time worked with?
Yeah, I would say that's how I got into really into the electronic music scene when I moved to LA.
Okay.
I met some people and got into, in with this record label. It was called Off-World Music. And that's how I really met a lot of people in the music industry in LA. And then we had some artists, and they were touring all over the place. And
what kind of stuff were you doing? What kind of stuff were you doing at that time? I realize you don't do any of that kind of stuff right now, I don't think, right? But
no, and at that time I was not DJing or playing music. I started out, I guess, more on the business side, you could say, and kind of on tour with.
Be careful! You're not allowed to do any business in music. It's all free.
It wasn't really business. It's like you kind of get paid to party. No, I don't know. No, but really.
Yeah.
But it was good to have kind of that background and to see how a record label works. And it was just a time in my life when it was really fun to be traveling a lot and just seeing how it all worked. And then it was somebody that worked at the label that suggested to me, he's like, you're around this, all these like amazing producers and DJs, you should DJ. And I'm like, I don't know. And then, but I started just by playing some vinyl, and a DJ friend of mine gifted me some turntables that he had gotten and gave, and I think he's the one, a couple of friends. And then I was on a couple of, with a couple of record pools. So I got some really great white labels and some really amazing vinyl there in the beginning, and that's kind of how I started. And
explain, if you don't mind, explain real quick a record pool to people that are not, like if your definition of what it was.
That was a big part of things back at that time, and I don't hear that term as much anymore, I guess. But a record pool was you would get kind of the latest unreleased tracks on vinyl, or I was getting them on vinyl, shipped to you from these labels. So you'd get these like white labels or bootleg tracks that nobody else had. So that made it really fun and exciting to want to, you want to be one of the first DJs to play out these tracks that nobody else has yet. Yeah,
I think record pools have vanished.
I know.
I think, they were, I guess it was, I think you're right. Like, there are definitely like music clubs, and there's some of those that were probably the biggest record pools back in the day with vinyl, that kind of thing. But it was literally crazy. Like, you would have a fee and then they would actually ship you, vinyl records. Like, you would just get, let's say 10 as a number. You may not know what they are. It was basically like a tastemaker type of pool, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And now it's kind of helter-skelter.
Yep.
It's like, now it's just, open up your social media deck and start looking for whoever's posting awesome free shit.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, exactly. It's been interesting to see the change and the metamorphosis of of the music world. And it's funny, along each, with each change, you hear a lot of people, I think, are really for the change, and they're like, it's going digital. This is the way it has to go. And people that remain positive about that, and I think are open to that. And then you hear the people that are so negative about it too, like, oh, it's just not what it used to be. It sucks now. But I just think, change is inevitable, and I think the more open-minded and that only serves you better to be able to, find really great music.
Yo, did I lose you? You still there?
Oh, I'm there.
Oh, I got you. I lost you. I was checking the feed to make sure that we weren't getting dropouts, and I cut off the volume on that, and you had stopped talking at the same time. All good. That's cool. Well, that does not surprise me. A couple things about that. It does not surprise me at all that you had learned. It seems like you learned to DJ on vinyl with turntables. Yeah.
Yes, I did, and I'm really happy that I learned that way, because let's see, after that I learned Tractor. So after everybody was playing vinyl, and even when you're traveling, you're carrying this big heavy record crate with all of your vinyl. And then it's interesting, I remember after 9/11 happened, with the heightened security and everything, it really changed. And I remember a lot of like electronic bands are traveling with all this equipment, and a lot of DJs that were traveling with all these records. It was such a pain in the ass then to deal with security, the heightened security measures and all that. That really, it definitely, as in a lot of different fields, it had a really big impact on the music community as well, because people would travel with a lot less records, or they would, a lot of live acts would start DJing to consolidate the way that they traveled. And then I feel like soon after that, software really
I don't miss vinyl at all.
You don't?
No, not really.
But I don't mind the weight of it.
All the stuff even when it's funny, because every time it comes up in any of these like shows, the there's always just different points I get reminded of because I haven't used it in so long. And you talking about the airlines and all that, I was just thinking, wow, that's true. Yeah, that
Yeah,
made it even crazier. It was like
I know.
everyone always thought you had like some sort of like 6 inch thick 12 by 12 bomb in your case or whatever.
Yeah,
So people
exactly.
tried to start using those. I remember when like the soft bags came out, people would try to fly with those instead, to make it like a little bit less obvious or whatever. Nope, still
Yep.
got like, and you're paranoid to check those because of course it would get lost or delayed or whatever. So
Yeah, exactly. And then, so yeah, so I think software, like I said, then I learned Tractor, which was a whole new thing. And then it was finally CDJs that I learned on, which now, of course, is, kind of standard.
well, you kind of made that transition from your vinyl days, I guess, like everybody had to.
Yeah, but I do still love playing vinyl when I
Yeah, I
can.
mean, you mix well. Yeah, part of why I brought it up was because when I heard you mix at the vegetable stand gig
Oh,
and no, folks, she's not playing vegetable stands in Denver. It was like a vegetable camp or
Miami.
something like at Burning Man,
You
and
can find me at the local farmers market every Sunday.
yeah, you're like rocking the fresh produce stand. That's what
Yeah,
Soon Collective is. It's like Soon Produce.
yeah, yeah.
But no, but you mix really smooth and very like it's like patience is a word I like to use for it, right? Like there's
Yep,
like not a rush to your mixing and sort of and whatnot, and that's always nice to kind of listen to because you can listen to a DJ that has that styling for hours probably, but certainly an hour or two, and it's there's not like chaos that breaks your vibe, so to speak.
thank
So
you. Yeah,
yeah, it's
I
cool.
agree with that, and I think that comes from because I hear a lot of DJs now. Um, I call them, no offense to people who
Oh,
use them,
call them
I
out. That's
call
my
them
favorite
I
thing to
call
do on here.
I call them ADD DJs because they're
Yeah.
just like all over the place. ADD. Okay, here's a track, and I have seen some DJs execute that well if they have like a turntablist background,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. It can work really well. But then I've also heard it like it's just like you said, it just breaks the energy and the vibe, and you're just like, what are they doing? I think that the way that I mix comes from the old school DJs and music producers that I used to go see. It was, very. I remember I used to use that word like, wow, they're so low build, and
Oh
I like.
yeah.
That's just kind of in my nature from the background and the influences I have. I guess the way that I mix.
Well, it's cool. Yeah. I mean, I have that background. I have also gone to the dark side, let's call it, a few times and just sort of played sets where I just kind of knock out a massive number of tracks, and it's just fun. It's funny. It's totally dependent on the crowd because
Yeah,
there's definitely a group of fans of music that don't really care about that sort of smoothness, patience concept I was talking about, and that's cool.
right.
And
And
like you
what's
said,
actually fun? It's actually fun. I think what genre is fun to do that with is techno, like just techno, like
ah,
proper techno, because I don't know. I feel the
you mean
layering
you mean
is
not the tech house stuff that's called techno?
no. And I love tech house, like you said, but when I do play just like I would say like proper techno, I feel like I do like to mix tracks a little quicker because they are uh, I don't know, really similar, and I think they sound really, really good layered upon each other. So I tend to go.
Yeah. Well, and those skills would definitely lend themselves to you doing that well as well. So yeah, that's cool. Hopefully one day I'll get to hear you play a techno set. That'd be fun, like a proper techno set. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I got to
cool.
play one at Beta. So I don't know if you heard here in Denver, Colorado, a really big club called Beta
I've
nightclub.
been there. I've been there one time, and I didn't play there, but I played somewhere else the day before, and then I was there an extra night, or vice versa, I think. And the DJ, it was a drum and bass show, and it was Sub Focus. Sub Focus, the drum and bass DJ. Anyway, he
Yeah.
played there, and that sound system. I'm just gonna. This is gonna be my segue to you. That sound system, like I'm definitely a drum and bass head too, and I was just like floored. So
Wow.
go for
Yeah.
it. Please tell us about Beta and your experiences with it and all that great stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about it because I got to play at Proper Sundays. A really amazing event producer here named Mahesh. Really nice guy, and he's been such an integral part of the dance music community here. He put on a night called Proper Sundays at Beta, and he booked me for that. Not the very final Sunday, but the Sunday before Beta closed,
Okay.
which was just a few weeks ago, I guess. And I was really excited about that because I got to play just proper techno.
Yeah.
So that's what made me think of that. But yeah, I guess Beta, I could say it's, it was around for 11 years. I was definitely newer to it since I just moved back here, less than 2 years ago. But it still had a big influence on me because I went there and I did meet a lot of people there, I would say, who ended up being really supportive of me, and it was definitely.
And that's nice. I mean, you said just 2 years back or a year and a half back there at that, at the time when you got booked for that. But that's pretty sweet that, you were welcomed back, let's call it, so to speak, and able to, because that place, in my opinion, that place is like the spot for
I'm really honored
electronic
that I got
dance
to play there.
music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Beta posted all these really cool quotes from huge DJs and producers all over the world that played there, and said that Beta is their favorite club in the world and that it has the best sound system in the world. I mean, yeah, I was like, wow, people really love it.
What do you think? There were a couple things that, again, from that interview I listened to, which I was glad that interview was kind of short because since we have no limit here, I thought it'd be cool. Like you mentioned a couple things like, well, the actual person who was interviewing you actually was commenting on, they really enjoyed your set and it was pretty hype the whole time, which is awesome. And like that you looked really comfortable playing. And I thought that was kind of funny. Like, what is like comfortable playing? And then you went into like prepping and all this stuff. But I wanted to ask you kind of because I've never actually thought to be like, that person looks comfortable.
That's funny.
Very
comfortable on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Hyro. Hyro McEast is his name, who does the podcast morning one.
Okay.
So I guess what he meant, and I've heard, and Mahesh told me this as well after I played that Proper Sundays, and I've heard people say kind of similar things. Basically, I know Mahesh actually said, he goes, I had no idea you had so much fun when you're DJing. Like, that was really cool. You just were having so much fun. I guess I really have fun, and I tend to dance a lot. I play music that I love and that I love to dance to. And I guess, I just really have fun. I guess that's what it means. People meet.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. I mean, I probably would have, had I heard that first, I probably would have used that word at the vegetable stand at Burning Man. But,
I feel like more comfortable playing. I've got some sunshine coming up on me here. Looks like
Me too. I've got it. You can see it's crossed my head. I have a window just here to the right of me.
Cool.
Hey, that's the kind of stuff that happens when I'm doing this space for the first time, and maybe you are, well, not really, but whatever. Yeah, you got your painting. It's awesome. But I wanted to ask you. A couple more things I was kind of like thinking when I was listening to just this bit about your playing in front of a big crowd and that kind of thing. A number of people that listen to this now or later, whatever, are either like fans, don't DJ or produce at all, that kind of thing. Strictly fans of music that go out to shows or maybe want to get into DJing, that kind of thing. And I always think it's cool with someone with your level of experience is I'm talking to them and you could kind of share, like those things about, that like what it took for you to become comfortable like that in front of people in terms of, your 5 or 10 years of DJing kind of thing.
Yes. Okay. So, and yeah, I feel more comfortable. I've learned this about myself. I feel more comfortable behind the decks, I guess, playing music and sharing music with people than I do out in the crowd. I don't know. When I go to a place, I go for the music, and usually I'm like right there in the front, right, and I want to see what they're doing, and I want to look at the gear, and like that's me. And then I feel like I'm most comfortable like really playing music, and I just love the feeling of sharing music with people.
And do you personally
When I'm
feel
kind
like
of
you're?
out in the crowd, I'm like, hi, how you doing? I don't know what to say. Okay.
Yeah. Right, right.
I feel so much more comfortable playing music, I guess. But
Do you
and I
personally feel
just
like your
started.
skill? Do you personally feel like your skills have? I've got a little bit of a delay when I hear you, so sorry if I cut you off a little bit. But do you have like a? Do you feel like your confidence, like your skills, are, in my opinion, rock solid? So like, I assume that plays into you having that confidence and just doing your thing and having fun and all that.
Yeah, and it definitely wasn't always like that. I'm just playing so often now, I guess, or often enough to where I can really relax and have fun with it. And whereas before, I know when I was just starting out or when I had changed how I was playing from, vinyl to, um, you know, tractor, then to CDJs, all three of those mediums, I remember being a lot more nervous at the start of each of that, like, hey, don't fuck up. I don't want to mess up here. But then once you get more, more comfortable with it, just like anything at all that you learn in life, the more that you do it, you get more comfortable at it, right? I mean, it's, you're kind of nervous doing anything new at first, I think. So it's just putting the time into it. And the more that you do it, then you can finally relax into it and just let the flow happen and have fun with it. So I think that's what's happened. I'm in a good place with that now where I can do that, which I'm so thankful for, because I definitely remember times when I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous.
Yeah, it shows. Do you think you can? Do you think you can rush that, or do you think it just takes a year or two, or maybe five, to get to where you have that kind of,
It takes
chops
a
on the
while.
decks?
It actually took me a while because I played so few and far between. I had
Okay.
some interruptions, some moves, and I started nursing school at one point, and that kind of took over my life. And so
Yeah.
some different, time periods in between where I didn't DJ often for a while. And so it really depends how often. I think if you're first starting out, but you start playing out a lot, you're going to get comfortable really quickly. Whereas, if you don't play out very often, it's just going to take more time. I remember literally the very first time that I got booked to play out. This was at a club in Hollywood, and I was playing vinyl, and I had just learned vinyl, and I had my set ready, I thought. I went to the club, and it was just the people that I already knew. It was like a pretty well-known producer at the time and club, and all of a sudden I just felt so much pressure. I'm like, oh my God, if I sound really bad, this is just gonna look really bad, It's just like, and I just got so nervous. I remember a friend of mine, he goes by 9X. His name is Josh. He was there, and I was like, oh, I freaked out so much. I was like, Josh, can you please play? I can't do it. And I literally freaked out. And he was like, I don't know your records. I'm like, I'm too nervous to play. And he's like, and he did it. He played my records for me. It's kind of an embarrassing moment, but screw it. And I remember that being so freaked out the first time I got booked that I had to have
Oh, you had
somebody
to
playing
drop
my
out.
record.
Oh my
I couldn't do it.
gosh.
I couldn't. But
That's an
after
amazing
that, I was like,
story, but I think it's also a great story because,
well, I
um,
want to share that because I think sometimes people think, "What's wrong with me? I'm nervous." You're human, and you're gonna mess up, and you're gonna get nervous, and it's okay. Just keep doing it.
yeah, and I think people, I think, if someone badly wants to get into DJing, and of the many reasons there can be for that, it doesn't really matter what they are, right, for each individual person. But I do think rushing is not a great thing. If you're, but it is awesome. You're going to fail once or twice. I mean, I've got a few stories where back when I did like DJ battle type things and stuff, and I would keep bumping the tone arm off the record, and then you're just screwed. Like you can't, you just kind of have to it's like, oh, I realized I never bumped the tone arm when I was back in my bedroom, and now I've bumped the tone arm, and you start to sweat, and there's no one going to help you.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay. And you realize, oh, you know what? You're like, oh, you know what? There's like a bunch of people that just paid money to come party here. I think I'll just put the thing back on the record, and like chill for a second, and they'll all dance. And that's exactly what
Take a
happens.
breath. Yeah. And you know what? Do you know what I have found also is that, and this comes from also from playing out and seeing friends play out, and even with my ear, and I can hear, I know my music, whatever. I've had friends, and I'm like, oh my God, you did a great set, and they're like, no, I totally screwed that up. And I'm like, I seriously did not notice anything. And once I heard some of that, I realized a lot of times, people are dancing, they're talking some, they're in it, they're having fun. A lot of times but yeah, behind the DJ booth, sometimes chaos can be going on. Like, oh my God, I don't have this cable. I don't have this. My headphones aren't working. There's always something going wrong. But you have to remember that a lot of times, unless you really just something major happens.
Yeah, unless someone stole your USB stick.
Yeah, a lot of times people literally are not even going to hear what you think they are going to hear. So it's like, just keep going and have fun.
Yeah, one of the other point that you reminded me when you said that about something will go wrong, little anecdotal I'll add in there is that like when something, especially if you just start and you're younger and you come on after somebody else, or not younger, but whatever, new, whatever you're doing, less experienced, if there's something you don't know about the equipment, just ask somebody immediately. Don't panic and wait and try to figure it out, because although most things are, there's a lot of standard, CDJ 2000s and Rain or Pioneer mixer out there kind of setups has become more standard. It's like there's always something, and it happens to me still too, and I'm sure and you just be like, look, I don't know how to use this mixer, like the people already booked you. You're already there playing, and if it's a paid gig, you're getting paid. So your job is really to make it happen. So like, don't let unfamiliarity with something like be the thing that causes you to have a problem, and it's so easy because whoever the house DJ is or the resident, in that case, they'll quickly be like, oh yeah, volume, whatever. And oh yeah, we switched the monitors. They're over here. They're not on the booth or whatever, and it just saves you that time and saves you from getting that like little frustration bump right at the beginning where now you're kind of like, oh, what's up?
Exactly. And I think it's also nice I try to do this anyway. If I'm playing and I notice that one of the CDJs, when you're trying to load your track, it goes to the next track, or something. If something's here, I like to do the oncoming DJ after me a favor and just let them know that. Like, hey, just letting you know this and this, and I'm appreciative of that. So they give them a little heads up, and also
like I set this on a 16 bar loop, so it's just gonna play for an hour if you don't mix out of it.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Things like that.
You want to give people a heads up. And with sound as well, like I've played at certain places where I know that the way that the sound is that night or at that club, the highs are like, if I'm out in the audience and I can hear it, it's like the highs are a little too high, and the lows are not low enough or something like that. So I know to adjust accordingly on the mixer. And then again, I'll kind of give the oncoming DJ a heads up, like, hey, just this advice, like, do what you want, but just letting you know that I've been, having the eyes turned down a little bit and whatever, just because I know the sound. And just people appreciate that. You want the whole night to go well, and you want the people that you're playing with as well to,
Yeah, for sure. You also little segue there also was you mentioned freestyle, and before I get into this one with you, one of my homies, Adia Break, he's like, hey, give me a 90s freestyle style radio shout out. So I'm like, what's up, Adia Break out there listening to the airwaves with Wes Smith and Kimberly St. John on the Wes Smith Variety ShYo, episode 75.
Thank you for tuning in.
Adia Break, his name's Gus. He's cool. He's DJ from San Diego. But cool. you did mention he's a total freestyle fan as well. But you did mention freestyle as well. And what do you kind of consider more freestyle to be versus is that versus a planned set, or what do you mean by that?
I think that's something that kind of comes with experience too, or maybe not. People choose to play how they want. I would say I do. Well, my version of freestyle now is that, I used to, I think because of being nervous at first, I used to really plan out my sets. But then I felt more comfortable up there, because I wasn't, if I was kind of unfamiliar or inexperienced with the mixer or something, I didn't have to worry about that. I really had it, planned out.
So just kind of playing playing a little more off the cuff rather than
I don't really do that anymore. I know I sort of I have an idea of what I want to play, or the style I want to play, and the tracks that I have or that I want to get for a particular event. So I have that kind of mood in mind. but I tend to
Right.
do a lot more freestyle now. I'm a lot better. I think that I'm a lot better at reading the crowd now that I used to
Uh-huh.
be.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so I go with some kind of a plan, kind of like when you travel abroad or something. You kind of, this is how I travel too. You kind of want to have a basic plan of certain spots you want to hit, things that you want to do, the way that you want kind of the overall experience to be, but then you want to be open to um, reading the crowd.
Hopping off the tour bus.
Yes, because then
Sometimes you got to
that's
hop off the tour bus, folks.
yeah, and then you meet a local and they're like, oh no, you got to go to this underground cafe. They're not going to show you that in the tour books.
Yeah, yeah,
When
totally,
you're playing too,
totally.
you're like, oh okay, I can see how these people are dancing or whatever, and what they're kind of feeling more. And I'm gonna drop this track. I didn't think I was going to, but this is gonna work well right here. Or things like
Yeah,
that.
that's cool. I'm not sure, like, I think probably a lot of music fans that don't DJ or produce, they probably, they may not realize that, like, there's all that variation from, when I actually first got started, when it was vinyl, I would literally have played my records so much at home because I think you just generally had to practice a bit more if you were going to mix. Well, the only way to mix then was live. There were no options like sync or quantize or anything, right? So
Nothing.
that was your only
Yeah.
option, was to practice over and over and over with all these
Yeah.
different records, and you'd have your mixes that you loved, and then other ones that you might freestyle, quote unquote, like you're talking. And when I used to do that in the very beginning, I would literally write down like the timing, like the timing of how far into the next song I would be, and kind of to remind myself, oh, I need to have this record queued and where I'm going to cue. Like I would have all these notes. It looked crazy.
I did too. I think I remember
Yeah,
doing that as well. I'd
yeah,
have the records in order, and then you put them in order in your crate.
yeah.
But then, as far as, and then I'd put, I even still do this now with vinyl. I'll put a little a star on the side that I want to play, because when you're in the middle of it, it's like, oh my god, you're flipping over the record and you forget which track on which side you want to play, and you
Oh
gotta
yeah, and those little
make notes.
things like this starts like on a half bar or something. Like the pressing wasn't good and it started off, so don't you can't start from the beginning. Things
Yeah.
like that.
Uh
That's
huh.
funny.
Totally. Yep.
Good stuff. What kind of time do you take to prep? Like, what's your for a set? And do you do it differently for maybe a gig you've played a bunch versus a big show, perhaps like this beta type deal you were talking about?
Yeah, at Beta, that show I prepped a lot for, especially when I had heard that they are closing. I thought I really, really need to put everything into this to um, make it special, like really, really special, and
Yeah,
to just do it, justice. So I really prepped a lot for that, and I wanted to keep it to a certain type of vibe. It depends on the gig. Some I definitely prep more for than others, or
would you say
especially
like 10 hours, 20 hours, a whole week?
no, I don't have time for that.
Neither do I.
I'm a
Yeah,
nurse by day, so that's
yeah,
quite a bit of
yeah.
my time. Um,
Uh,
so yeah, it really just depends. But a few hours, or also it helps if I have more prep time, as well. If
yeah,
I
yeah.
know that a gig is a month out or something, I have a lot more time to get certain tracks together versus, hey,
Sure,
tomorrow night,
yeah.
let's just do this pop-up thing. I'm like, okay, let's just work with what I have. And sometimes those end up being the best sets too.
Yeah, it's so sweet now that we have all the digital stuff because you can kind of, to some degree, wherever you are, like you said, if whether you're playing once a month or every weekend, whatever, some rolling timeline, it's kind of like you're going to have some gig coming up in the future, right? So it's like you can kind of always just sort of be building I'm going to call it a set list, not necessarily a playlist or playlist in terms of like iTunes or Rekordbox or something, but just you can be throwing in ideas and whatever, and you can do it on your mobile phone, a computer, and pretty much ananywhere now. So that's
Right.
definitely pretty sweet because you can kind of do it when you get inspired. You don't necessarily have to like sit there with your vinyl, and the only way you can hear it is to use record players, things like that, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, 100 pounds of
So that
equipment.
helps with that. Yeah.
Yes,
Technology.
I love it. It's sweet. I'm glad I've been around. I'm glad I've been around long enough to see technology pass it all by.
Yeah. Me too. I think I'm excited for it. I think that it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, think how far we've come in the last 10, 20 years. I really am excited to see what the next 10 to 20 years.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
Incredible.
fantastic. I think it's
Or
gonna be really
the world in
cool.
general, but music especially. I'm like, how else are we gonna do this? It's interesting.
Yeah, big time. Cool, cool. Well, that was all my stuff I pinched from your friends at Morning Wood. Shout out to the Morning Wood Squad
Yeah,
and
yeah,
their
great podcast.
podcast. You did mention though my exit out of there is you mentioned this Vegas and Utopia. Did you have a stint where you lived in Vegas,
A lot
or
of
just
people
this
had
club
asked
Utopia
me
you had
that
been
at the
to?
time because I was there so much for a
Oh,
while.
okay.
But because I lived in LA at the time, and so it was really easy to fly out to Vegas for weekends. It was a quick flight. And yeah, there was a club called Utopia. At the time, I was still with the record label Off World Music, and so some of our artists were playing at Utopia, and that was so I kind of had memories of Utopia with this whole beta closing, because a lot of especially the younger people were like, this is home to me. You have no idea you're talking about. It's a club, but I feel like I understood what they meant, and I I had some compassion for their heartfelt feelings because that's how I felt about Utopia. I remember back in the day, and I don't meet a lot of people who are familiar with it, but when I do meet somebody that is or that played there at one point or went there, it's like, oh my gosh, you get it. And it was a place. There was nothing else like it, and kind of same with Beta. DJs and producers from all over the world played there. The first DJ I remember seeing at Utopia was Kimball Collins.
Holy smokes!
I
played a party with him last summer in 2018.
What?
He actually brought me to Orlando to play his what is his thing? It's Oz AAHZ. I think that's like his brand he's been using forever for his parties there in Orlando. And
Wow.
yeah, he brought me out there to play one in the summer. It was fantastic. A lot of fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I would love to run into him somewhere and tell him, like, I remember you playing vinyl at Utopia in Vegas.
Hit him up on Facebook. He would love to hear from you, I'm sure. He's such a cool guy. Yeah, he's such a cool guy. I had never really hung out with him much in person, but yeah, I did a little bit then, and he just, such a calm, like, mild-mannered, sort of quiet-spoken guy, just pretty chill. Nice.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah,
I think I will reach out. I found out I used to be kind of nervous about doing that, reaching out to especially bigger name, producers and DJs saying, oh, I love your stuff. But I find out when I actually try to do that more now, because I find when I do, people are so appreciative because you really don't know how people are perceiving you unless they tell you. So I think people are really appreciative when you let them know, hey,
that guy, Kimball's probably like one of the most appreciative people I've ever met of like the people who support, and have supported the longevity of his both event production and obviously DJing and some music production. But
nice.
So cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
What in Denver, you're back there. What's so you mentioned a couple other clubs. Like what do you think's is there something that'll not take the place of Beta in the sense of the community and the emotional things that maybe were attached to it, but just like start to build that kind of thing again? I mean, is there something that you see that's got that potential, or it's just kind of up in the air?
I don't know. A lot of people are talking about that. Trying to get out of the sun here. Vampire.
I had to hang up a Hawaiian shirt right next to me. You can't see it, but it's like right there. Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about that. Like, what's going to be the next Beta? I don't know. I don't even want to. Yeah, I don't know. I do know that. I can't think of. I just saw Sasha Robati play there. I'm trying to think of the name of the club now.
That guy's a trip. Have you ever met him before?
Yeah,
Sasha?
So actually the night that I saw him, which wasn't too long ago, at this club here that's kind of been taking over, or I guess really booking really big names lately. So I met him recently, and then after the show, and he and some other friends, we ended up hanging out after that, and so now I'm in contact with them, and we've kind of become friends, and so I'm like a Denver friend.
That's awesome.
He's so nice too, and down to earth, and he was really appreciative of everybody that came to the show that night. He seems like a really cool guy.
He's a positive example of a good use of immigration moving fast. He was just doing because he's tweeting about it all the time, I follow him on Twitter.
He moved to LA, right?
Yeah, I camped with him once. I met him because I camped with him at Camp Charlie at Burning Man.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's how I met him.
Oh, okay. Because I
Yeah.
noticed some camp members there talk to him as well or in touch with him. So that's
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it was like a one-shot deal for him, but with Camp Charlie or whatever, I don't know. I'm not in LA much or in that circle, so I don't really know it all. But I do follow him on Twitter and Instagram, and his Twitter's pretty funny. But but I know that he got his green maybe his citizenship. I'm not sure which. Yeah, take your time, adjust your light, no problem. For anybody who's listening to this later and doesn't watch the video version, if you just get the audio, that was a little sun shade break.
Yeah,
we both have sun creeping over our faces in our respective locations.
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't happen every day on the live stream. Sweet. No. I love it.
Live sun.
Yeah. Well, what so if someone was going to go to Denver, what are like, I don't know, you mentioned a couple, but maybe recap them. Like what's a few spots that you would highly recommend they go check out in terms of a nightclub, or lounge club experience kind of thing?
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. It's actually almost difficult to pick and choose where you're going to go in any, not only weekend, but weekdays as well.
Yeah.
It's just because people are just building each other up here and creating events and supportive of each other's events. So there's a lot of places. There's a place on, so Wednesday nights, there's a place called Bar Standard in downtown in Denver. And a really awesome guy, Brandon Brierly, is doing a weekly there called Steam.
Okay.
And that's been a really fun Wednesday event called Steam at Bar Standard. Let's see. Oh gosh, there's Milk Bar on Thursdays. It's really good. The Underground does that. I'm trying to think.
Feel free to look it up if you have to.
Gosh.
I always have to switch to the Googles and be like, oh wait, yeah, this is the name of it to make sure I get it right.
I know.
So Milk Bar, and then you mentioned a Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, Milk Bar, and there's Steam on Wednesdays.
What's a good place for someone who then, if you can't remember specific names, like do you have a good source for Denver nightlife in general? Like is there like an event site source other than maybe Facebook that does a good job of kind of spotlighting like the dance music events?
Denver, let's see. Gabriel, what is the thing that you do? I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, cool. Like because like in San Diego, you lived here before, so I'm cheating a little bit, but there's like City Beat, that entertainment mag, is actually still in print form. It has they have a pretty good electronic dance music section of things that do a pretty good job of spotting stuff there. But there's no Time Out magazine.
Yeah, there's and we have our local publications here, 303 Magazine and Westward. But as far as a really good Facebook group to join is Colorado House and Techno Community.
Oh, okay.
And there's just over 1,000 members, and I would say that's kind of the prominent place that I see really good electronic music events posted here.
Yeah, and it's like a pretty useful group. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good thing.
Yeah, Colorado House and Techno Community. That's a really good one.
Cool. You can go there and ask a question if you're visiting without getting into a debate about techno versus house.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We've got, I can share just a couple of things that I'm seeing on this site right now. The very top post we've got is by Josh Powelson of Journey Deep. Really awesome guy. He's given me some of the tracks that he and his artists have been working on. So he posts things on here quite often. Really nice guy, and he's definitely like in the know with what's going on. It looks like Sasha is coming out here. Well, newsflash. Okay, Sasha's coming out here on your little
like
stick.
Sasha and Digweed.
Yeah. Let's see. Brandon Leutch. Oh, Brandon, I think, is the one that did this art, and he's also into music, and he posted a free download here. We've got, let's see, Mike Paul below that shared, I won't go too far, but Mike Paul shared an event that's coming up, which I'm really excited about. Charlotte DeWitt. she's she's a Belgian producer, and she plays out as well. She is amazing, and she's coming out. Mahesh brought her out here not too long ago, so I'm excited to see that she's coming back out here. She tours all over the world on April 12th at Ritual Fridays, which is at the church. Okay, good. The church.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a really, really cool place to go. I remember going to the church way before I moved back here, and I'm happy to see it still going. It actually is an old, big church in downtown Denver, and it's really cool I have not played there yet, but I would love to. I saw Green Velvet there recently. It has these stained glass windows still, and just the space is really cool. I also like the way it's set up, so you see the DJs. You're able to go up where they are and kind of walk behind them easily. It's just you're accessible to the DJ and the music.
Yeah, that place has been there for a while, hasn't it?
A long time, yeah.
Yeah.
So they do some really great things there. So I would say, yeah, hit the church for sure if you're not really familiar with the Denver scene yet.
Sweet Denver knowledge, dropping it hot, right on the tails of the exciting but not so exciting beta closure news.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. Well, and then so that's other people's stuff, but I really want to dig into your Soon Collective because I think that's your most recent thing. That you have EMA and Soon Collective, and I love EMA and a lot of things they've done over the years. Take your pick. I don't know. Tell us what's up. Either one.
Okay. I'll start out with Soon Collective, which stands for Something Out of Nothing. Which I love. It's like so basic and simple, but it's so. Actually, the first time I heard it, I was like, "That's so Burning Man." It's like something out of nothing, creating something. And I just thought it was a really beautiful concept. And Kyle White, aka Wiley, is who came up with that name and who I would say started Soon Collective. He said that he had been mulling over that name for a few years and the concept of what we're doing, and he was just waiting for the right players to come into the picture, and here we are to help him out with it. So yeah, it's called Soon Collective.
And how many of you are part? Like, who's one? You mentioned one other guy, but is that how many of you are the formation?
So it's Kyle White, aka Wiley, and myself are the resident DJs. And we just added Cam Smith. He is our third resident DJ. And then there's Chaz Ezart and Sean Duggan, who are just awesome guys. They do a lot of the marketing and to help booking the artists that we have on as our guests. And they're very creative as well. And
that's legit. 5 people. You got skills doing things.
That's what a lot of people are like. It's only you guys. That's it. I'm like, yeah, it just takes a few like minds, to really create something cool. And our events, we've been doing these. We started out doing underground events, and we still do. We're actually currently we're doing a monthly at the newer place called Yeah Baby Denver in Rhino District. But we are definitely going to continue to do some of our after hours and our own, kind of more underground events because that's what we really love. And our whole concept or idea is to support local artists. And to make it an interactive experience, something different than just going and listening to a DJ, which is great. But we want to, so we have brought in live local painters who have, set up a canvas and been doing live painting. We've set up our own canvas with like highlighters and a black light. So everybody that comes to the party can draw or write their name or whatever they want to do, write a message. And those have ended up being really cool because people can be a part of that. So we've created art with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a column in my kitchen that is like a structural column, so it's just kind of there and couldn't be moved in this little remodel I did. And my friend, I had an artist come in and paint a mural on the front side of the what would be like the island kind of thing. Anyway, so this column is sitting there, and so we were like, what are we going to do with this thing? And she did exactly that. It was funny. She just painted it flat black and gave me a pack of chalk.
Nice.
So people sign it when they come over. It's pretty funny.
Oh, I love it. That's super cool. cool. So fun. I love that. So yeah, and then we even had a local clothing vendor come in, and I actually ended up buying a pair of really cool leggings that he had made. So yeah, we just like to support local artists and have it be kind of a unique experience for people. So
is it, how do people find how do people find Soon Collective, like Facebook group or page or what?
The best place is on Facebook. Yeah, just Soon Collective, SOON, and then Collective. We're getting more and more likes all the time, more and more members all the time, which is really cool. A lot of people have been really supportive and say that it's one of their most fun events that they attend. So we're really grateful that we've had a lot of support, and we have a lot of people kind of messaging us a lot, saying, "Hey, I'd love to help you guys out. I'd love to DJ, but also I don't know, build things or produce things, whatever you guys need." So it's been really cool to see it grow, and I think that we just want to keep to, just keep it to this like-minded group of people, so that it benefits the the community, and as well as. So in addition to...
sorry, real quick, by the way, because I posted a link to that Soon Collective, but there's another one, Soon Collection. Don't make that mistake. It's the other one. It's the one with more likes.
Who are the collection guys?
I don't know. It's this thing. It comes up, Soon Collection. They'd be like, what? This is bullshit. This is like they sell chia pets in Arkansas. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's our side gig. No.
That's right. Yeah, it's just in case you get too much traction on the Soon Collective.
Yeah.
Nice. It's the net. Right.
So another thing that we do at our Soon Collective events is we like to attach it to helping the community somehow at our events, because which this inspiration came from my work with EMA, Electronic Music Alliance, is that I like to attach events that I'm DJing at or that I'm involved with some kind of a donation collection thing. So we'll pick a local charity. So like the last thing we did actually was the night before last when we had our event at Yeah Baby. We did a collection towards Denver Rescue Mission. We collected socks because it's really cold here in Colorado now. So, we're like, people need warm things. So we thought it'd be easy for people to just bring a pair of socks when you come. And we had a donation box at the door.
That's a whole next level issue in Denver, isn't it? Is the cold.
Yeah. It's not as bad as people think, but...
no, but you do have it. You do have it.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially people who aren't as fortunate as we are and who might be homeless or whatever. Definitely need warm things. So I really like to give people the opportunity to help the community at events. It's like we're all coming together anyway. And it's like nothing for people to just pick up whatever and throw it in the box, and then we go and donate it to the charity of choice. A couple days later, and they're always really appreciative.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
I
think it also helps. I remember when I first started doing that, and I would make these drop-offs to these places. And I remember at first I felt kind of weird about saying, yeah, I'm a DJ, and, we had this, this crazy rave or whatever, this electronic music event, and we raised donations for you, because I feel like sometimes we think that people sort of have this, people who aren't in the scene might have this sort of stigma about it, like, oh, crazy partiers and people are just doing this and that. But I want to be able to bring to the public that, hey, we actually are an amazing community who cares about our, local community and wants to help as well. And I think that's been, now that I've been more open about that and excited to share that, like where these donations came from, I've noticed that the charities that I've worked with are actually really supportive and excited about that and grateful. They're like, that's awesome. You guys are playing music and dancing and having fun and, helping the homeless or whatever different charities out as well. And
that's totally awesome. That's totally awesome. And I think like from a pure business standpoint, I think that when you get to a certain, as anything grows, and especially if it's making money and it's involved in arts, as it gets larger, there will always be, more people that either drift away from it because it looks like it's just making a lot of money, like an EDC kind of thing or whatever, right? Like that's at the top of the scale, let's say. But I think doing things like that, at whatever size, food drive, supporting some kind of things, both partly from the promoter or business, and then partly from people who come and providing and helping coordinate that opportunity. I think it's great, and it's a great way to kind of balance some of that too, I think. So, because people do to do. I don't know anything about beta, like as an example, as far as the club goes. Most of those things run their course because the rent goes up or the building gets sold or things like that, and it can be totally different. But I've seen that happen with umpteen different clubs. So just like as an example, if that was the case, it's like these places that provide these and build these wonderful things over time, they do need money to operate.
Yeah.
And so like if they can make some money, and then maybe as they continue making more, possibly cut a little bit of that back to some good like that. I think it's a great balance and way that a lot of the community, both the business and the people that attend their events, can give back and maybe not feel as weird as they might about just the money part of all the art and music and
Exactly. And then I find that there are a lot of people who want to help out more, but they're not sure how. So I think this helps our audience, give them that an easy way to do that. It's like, hey, you're coming to our event, bring a can of food or whatever, and we'll donate it for you. And so that way we give people a way to help the community like they want to, but maybe don't know how. Nice.
Anything else on Soon Collective that is you haven't shared?
Really. I'm really excited about, and I can't really share it, so I'm not going to say too much about it, but I'm just really excited. We just had a pretty big meeting this past week about a really big event that we've got in the works, and we're working with another company on it. But I'm sorry, that's.
I feel like I feel like now we've entered the sort of like the Mark Cuban section of the podcast where he's never allowed to talk about something. Every interview I've ever heard him with is like, there'll be something. I actually just think it's part of his playbook for doing interviews and podcasts and things, because inevitably you will always get to a portion of the conversation with Mark Cuban where he's like, yeah, I can't talk about that. The SEC will find me or something, And,
oh my God.
Well, and he's like at that level. Yeah. Like he just recently got fined like $600,000 or something because he mentioned, something that would constitute some kind of violation with one of the big level organizations that he's involved in, the Mavericks or something like that. So.
Oh no! Yeah. Yikes!
$600,000. Yeah, $600,000.
That's crazy.
It is so crazy.
Now he's like extra careful about saying things.
yeah, it is nuts. Yeah.
Or when people post on Facebook like something really big's about to happen, and you're like, just either.
Yeah. Sometimes it's legit.
I don't do that, but
sometimes it's legit, folks. You have to keep your mouth shut. It's how things go. Sweet. Sweet. Now I can tag you and Mark Cuban on Twitter.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But so I hate to be annoying like that, but I am just really excited about this meeting we had with this other company. But I'll be able to talk about it soon because it's just, we're kind of building.
Yeah, well, let me know whenever that does, and I'll tag a couple of Denver friends and let them know what you got going on over there. Yes, when you do announce it and stuff to help support it and whatnot. Hey, speaking of Denver, there is one more thing. I found a picture. I wanted to ask you about this. I'm going to post it up here. It's not of you. It's just a fairly generic picture, but it is. We didn't talk about it all. It's Red Rocks.
Yeah. Oh,
that is from your Facebook profile, so maybe there's some personal story to that picture, but I wanted to throw it up there.
I took that picture. So that's Red Rocks. I took that photo fairly recently when one of my very best friends in LA, Natalie Rosenblatt, I could just tell her I give her a little shout out. She came out here to visit me, and I wanted to. She had never been to Colorado, so I wanted to take her to some really special places here. And so I took her up to Red Rocks here, which is an absolutely iconic place in Colorado. Nearly everybody has heard of it. And if you have been able to come visit it in the daytime like this, I just took her there during the daytime, so the view is incredible. It's fun to just go up there. I think they have morning like yoga classes there in the summer and things like that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, I've been there once, but at nighttime, and it's beautiful. And this picture does it fair, does justice date. I mean, a little bit like
There's
daytime.
so
You at
much
least
on
get
the
the
side that you
idea.
can't see, like the actual red rocks are like all around you.
Yeah, on the back, like it would be behind us if
Yeah.
you're looking the other way. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
super
Which
cool.
gives this venue natural acoustics. So they have naturally very good acoustics here. So people since I don't know the 70s and before loved playing there. The Grateful Dead has played
Yeah, it's
there. The Beatles
legendary.
have
Yeah,
played there. So legendary.
I went
Um,
there and heard. Jack White as Jack White, his band.
nice.
From the White Stripes. Oh, it was
Oh
amazing.
yeah. Oh, I
Such
bet
a
that
great
was a
show.
really cool show.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
when he. It was like when he. It was like when he. It was when he first started his tour for his first Jack White solo album. So there was a ton of energy and curiosity around what he was going to do, and and that venue just. I actually flew from San Diego to there just to go see that, and then took a couple friends because I was just like when I was looking at the tour schedule, I was because Jack White always picks. He tries to get eccentric-ish venues, and I was like, that's the one out of a list of all the crazy stuff. I was like, that's the one I'm
Nice.
gonna do. So yeah.
Oh, good.
It.
I'm glad you had the opportunity to do that because it
Yeah.
really is a special place. And
Yeah,
it's
because
so
like
going to see.
having lived in San Diego, like we don't have, we don't really have a Red Rocks type venue that I can think of.
No, not that I can think of either. Definitely some cool spots that overlook the water there, but nothing, yeah, like Red Rocks.
Yeah.
So it's really special to actually go see a show there, and you really see how good the natural acoustics are, which is cool. I also went and saw, let's see, at the beginning of this past summer, I think I took my my niece to go see a film screening of the Goonies there. So that's another kind of cool thing they do in the summer is they'll screen these old movies there, which is really fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. When is Soon Collective gonna have a show at Red Rocks?
Heh, let's do it,
Yeah, make it
guys.
happen. Come on, Mark
Hell yeah.
Cuban. Come on, Mark Cuban. Put some money behind these people. Go have a big show at Red Rocks.
Let's do this.
I like the idea. Sounds great. I'll come out. I'll fly out. Just hang out.
Okay.
I'll help you put it on.
Yay.
Yeah, that's awesome. What I got another photo here in the photo section of my business. This one's slightly music related. This one is of you, and
Kimberly's most embarrassing moments.
no, don't you love the surprises? This is really cool, and I
So
figured
that
you
would be
probably want to
really
give
funny,
it.
actually.
It's a photo from a shout out anyway, so I figure you probably would give a shout out again. This is cool. This dress. Tell me about this.
Okay, so I like to, be thoughtful and put meaning behind everything that I do, hopefully. So in this photo, I'm wearing a headpiece that Ava Yosefi, I hope that I'm
Yeah, she
saying
was
her name
tagged in the
correctly.
post. Yeah.
Okay, good. She made for me, and I met her at one of our Camp Charlie Unicorn Burning Man fundraisers a couple of years ago in San Diego. It was or was it in LA? No, it was in LA. I came out for that, and I met her there, and the awesome friend of mine, Esther Gonzalez, who is a longtime Camp Charlie member, she's the one that brought me into the camp. She was telling me, she's like, you have to meet Ava. I just think that you'll really get along well. And I met with her, and then I saw that she makes all these cool costumes. And I was getting ready to go to Burning Man for my first time, and I wanted to just make it as special as I could. And I decided I wanted to have her create some piece like this because this is what she does. And so it's special to me because she created it especially for me. She wanted to get to know me a little bit more and just kind of see what she feels like my spirit is all about, I guess. And
So this is like a custom. This is like a custom
Totally.
piece for you.
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
that's cool.
Yeah, so that was so cool of her to do. It also it lights up, and it was kind of fun. So that's a special piece for me that I wore at my very very first Burning Man. And the photographer, his name is Lee Stonehouse, and he's just such a cool guy and a great photographer, a friend of mine. And I just happened to tell him or let him know at one point, I kind of need some new photos. It's been a while since I've had some DJ photos taken. would you be interested in doing that type of style of shoot? And he said, yeah, absolutely. Let's have fun with it and do it. So, and I really loved what we came up with. And so we've done a couple more photo shoots since then, I think it's important to keep your photos current if you're an artist of any type. And so he's really done a lot of cool photos for me.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Yeah, take note from the pros, folks.
Yeah.
Don't have a 5-year-old picture for your, one of my favorites, Kimberly, is like, especially like, at least I notice it more with like guy DJs and guy talent. Like they'll have like, let's say, especially the older ones, they get kind of longevity in their career, and they like you meet them in person, and it's almost like a dating app photo or something. Yeah. It's like, dude, what, like, bro, like, update your shit. And if you don't like a photo from the last 5 years, then go run or something, man. Like, I don't know, do something. Like you can't be using the same headshot from like your debut album and you're on like album 8, you know?
I know. It really is important. You do have to keep your image fresh, I guess.
Yeah, and if you're whatever it is you're into, right? Like, I mean, if you're into fashion, if you're into all, whatever, or if you're just into t-shirt and jeans, that's all good. But yeah, I that's one of the things I do love about like social media and all the kind of instant everything nowadays is I do think people are much more able to just find put their creativity out there, and then people will find them that really kind of just resonate with whatever their style is, rather than having to kind of, conform to, whatever maybe the 3 outlets are that are going to publicize you or something, and
I agree.
I still hear a little bit of that nowadays, with record label in the producer circles and stuff, where like people, they get pressured to do certain things stylistically, and it's almost like I'm not sure they realize, like, from an artist standpoint, from a music producer standpoint, you're almost like, if someone tells you to change something, like in a way that's not just, let's say, an audio engineering issue, or something that's like a clear technical or musicality problem, but it's a creative issue, it's almost like you do realize that you could just go put it out yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, I just do another song for you, and then like I'll put this one out for free. Like, I don't need to belabor over weeks of like editing this.
Right. And I think some people they put all their eggs in one basket, so to speak, and then, oh my God, if this doesn't do well, I'm screwed. It's like, there's so many ways to put things out there and do things yourself now. Take advantage of technology.
Hey, speaking of eggs in a basket, I've got another photo. This one's totally it's totally non-music related. But it goes back to your food drive-ish. I pinched this one. Funny. Oh yeah, I'm good at pinching all the quality stuff off of people's Facebook profiles.
Hilarious.
But I'm kind of a foodie, but this is definitely a foodie photo. What's going on here, Kimberly?
So I'm usually really healthy.
Okay.
And I got sick a few weeks ago. It just knocked me on my ass, and then since then I've just been on this like super health kick, and I don't know. I don't usually post food photos.
What's even in that? That's not even food porn. That's like the whole grocery shelf. What is are those sweet potatoes?
I shop at my local Sprouts here. It's
okay.
Just like a couple of blocks from me. What is it? I got organic sweet potatoes, raspberries, mushrooms. Mushrooms are amazing, by the way. I've been listening to podcasts and lectures regarding mushroom. I'm not even talking about magic mushrooms, just mushrooms in general. There's cordyceps mushrooms and lion's mane mushrooms, and mushrooms are doing incredible things. And from my
listeners, there's no drug section of today's show. We're talking about edible. Jesus, I missed that. I was gonna say edible mushrooms. Of course, no. We're talking about the ones you get at the grocery store.
Eat your mushrooms.
Yes. Yes.
What else do I have there? Apple cider vinegar. A friend of mine, Daniel, just told me about this really great kind of shot that you can do. Non-alcoholic shot. It's apple cider vinegar, Himalayan pink salt. What else did you say, Daniel? Let's see. It was Himalayan pink. Oh, and organic, like local honey. So honey, apple cider vinegar, and pink Himalayan salt. And you mix that a little bit. And mix it with, like, I don't know, water, some healthy juice or whatever. And so he told me about that recently, and I've been doing that. It tastes actually pretty good, and It's really good for you.
It
I'm not
sounds
one of those
like
people that
it sounds like some good. That
follows.
sounds like some good tonic, though. That sounds like some good
Yeah,
tonic.
exactly. That's what
Yeah.
it is. And I like to be healthy. I'm not one of those people that follows every, fad or things that, that happen. But I just think that it's
Yeah.
important. This comes from my nursing background as well. I think it's
Yeah, that's
important to take care of your
Suja.
body.
What's that? How's that Suja stuff? I actually spotted that one off of Kelly Slater's top 10 list of foods he eats.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it's on he made it, whatever. So I follow him on social media. I enjoy surfing. I'm not at his level, obviously, but I just I enjoy floundering in the water and thinking about, surfing waves that he surfs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. I just tried it for the first time. I didn't actually even hear about it from anywhere. I just happened to see it on the shelf at Sprouts and grabbed it, and I
Yeah.
really like it. So I think especially when you have a demanding, irregular schedule, like like you're playing gigs and I would like to travel more, but you're traveling more, and if you also are doing other things with your lives, life. I just feel like my schedule has always been a little weird by most people's standards, and I think it's really important to do what you can to stay healthy, like eating healthy and
Yeah, well, you said nursing, right? You're actually, I saw this. I know we had talked about it a little bit before, but I saw this. This photo is kind of funny. This shirt. Look at this is. I thought this was great. I don't know how old this was on your Facebook profile, but I thought because it tied into music, I was like, that's sweet right there.
I know. It's like so
Yeah.
me. I remember I have one really good friend of mine. She thought it was so like dorky. She's like, "Oh my god, seriously?" I'm like, "What do you mean? It's like the coolest shirt ever. It's totally perfect for me." Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to compartmentalize things in my life. I like everything to flow together, and this is, I feel
Well,
like this.
that definitely hits the nail on the head. That's pretty sweet. For anyone that
Yeah,
listens to it later, it's a picture of a little like women's cut T-shirt that says "cardiac nurse" and the beat goes on.
yeah. And I actually, as a nurse, I used to work in a cardiac unit, and so
Oh, cool.
that shirt really spoke to me.
That's intense. I bet that really shapes your personality a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I think so. It's just really amazing the way that our bodies work, and um, I got to watch a whole open heart surgery one time. I met a heart surgeon when I was working in the cardiac unit, and I told him, I was like, I'm taking care of these people post surgery. I would really like to see the whole picture of what they're going through before
Wow.
I see them to kind of better understand what their bodies have just been through. And he invited me to come watch one of his surgeries. And so I was standing there. It was like me, the cardiac surgeon, and just a couple other people, the anesthetist,
Yeah.
and like one other person. And I stood there totally still for like 5 hours and just watched. And I swear it seemed like 5 minutes had gone by. I was just so like enthralled, and I'm like, holy crap! I've just been standing here for 5 hours,
I
and
would be
I got to watch.
yeah, I would be
It
completely
was
blown away.
insane. It was so cool. It was so cool.
Do
So
you
and
think
he
do
changed
you
the
think
valve.
Oh, sorry, there was a little delay there. Do you think your involvement in the healthcare have you always been healthy, or has that helped shape it even more? Or how has that helped shaped your kind of desire to be healthy?
No, I think I've always been pretty healthy. Luckily, I feel really fortunate to have both my mom and my dad are healthy, and I feel like lucky for that. And then I was a competitive gymnast for a long time growing up,
Oh,
and
cool.
so it just kind of goes with it. You have to obviously know about and take good care of your body when you're an athlete, and so that I think really shaped my health background. And my dad in particular has always been really, really healthy, as far as he even like was doing some bodybuilding like back in the 80s. And he
What I would give for a
won.
picture of that in those cool shorts.
I know, I gotta get some pictures from him.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
he's always been a big, like, he hikes, and he lives on the big island of Hawaii now, and you can hike around the volcanoes and things like that. So, and he scuba
Yeah.
dives. I think I just grew up, and like I said, and my mom is very, in great shape as well. So I think I've always been healthy. So it's been interesting, like, getting into the electronic music scene, with, you're up late at night and you're around people that are, partying and maybe overdoing things. But I think it's really important to just take care of yourself, you know, and I try to be an example to people like, okay, you don't have to get, and yeah, there've been times, especially when I was living in LA, it's like you really get caught up in it. It's like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, I like being healthy. But I think
Yeah, and the impacts. What do you think? Like I've been very fortunate with my father was not all that healthy. In fact, he passed away when I was younger. But my mother has always been really healthy, like very good about, at least with what was currently available for knowledge and information, and adjusting and trying to be healthy. And she's awesome, very like mobile and everything, rocking still today. So we go do
right.
all kinds of stuff together still, which is really fantastic. And it helped me kind of one of the things she really helped me understand was just how big a deal. It's almost like saving a little bit of money, from when you're really young, which is super hard to do. It's like it's super easy to abuse your body when you're younger, and I probably did a little bit of that when I was younger for sure. But but the earlier you can like without sounding like a parent or whatever, it's a big deal because the way I like to frame it for like some of my friends that are in their 20s, like nowadays, is like, look, it's like, it could be like father figure or people yapping at you or whatever, but what you don't realize is if you want to, let's say you want to do music, let's say you do it at the same level or you become a superstar or whatever, and you want to do a career for for your entire career, and it's your main income source and all this kind of stuff, right? And really do that. If you don't have good health habits, it's not going to happen. There's no way you'll make it. There's just no way you'll make it. You got to have your energy level. Like, it's hard to understand when you're 20 that when you're in your mid 30s, the energy level to run around on stage it's not going to be there like it was if you've abused yourself, gained 30, 40 pounds like a typical, at least American, that kind of thing,
Yeah, and I've seen people throughout the years, and some people that they just really overdid it, and just it's like, wow, you can really tell. And then the people who kind of did something else as well or took better care of themselves. I mean, it really does make a difference. And not saying that you can never whatever.
Oh, it's not about it's not
it can never do whatever. But just it's a balance, and yeah, you give yourself those special weekends or
Yeah, and everybody's different, absolutely, and everybody's different. But at least just be aware that it's an important thing, and it's not something you can really just put off until you start to feel the effects of abusing yourself. It's like, and for guys, I mean, I know women have other things, that they do year round in terms of, healthcare. But, for guys, like for me, like as simple as just one of the good habits I did get from my father when I was younger was just once a year, just go get a physical, like a full physical.
I'm so
just
glad
do
to
it.
hear you say that, Wes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of men in particular, for some reason, don't like doing the regular checkups as much as women do. And so I'm really happy to hear you say that because it really, really makes a difference.
Women are far more, in my opinion, and I probably was lucky because after my father passed, I did have a sister, I have my sister, she's still alive, and my mother, who kind of, I was sort of raised by them as a teenager, etc. So, maybe changed the way I looked at it a little bit. But yeah, you got to do it, man. You can't. Now, anyone looking now or later or whatever, and I may even clip this one, but so important, and it is statistically, and I'm glad you said it as a healthcare, industry professional person, is, it is a big problem for men in particular. The embarrassment of, the physical or, certain issues with their body and this and that. It's like the general practitioner, that guy, that's the one person, man or woman, that you just check your ego at the door and lay it all out and let them do what they got to do. And, it is what it is. And 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you'll come out of there just feeling way better about life because you don't have high blood pressure or you don't have, and these aren't things that just happen like when you're 60. That shit happens to people in their 20s. I run a lot. You may have seen some of my running stuff and whatnot that I post. And I've run races, and there's been people in their 20s that drop dead because of a heart murmur or something that they never had any checkups. They had no idea they had some problem.
Yeah, I remember when I was working and they had some people that you would expect it a little more. They were older and in bad health, but we had every now and then you'd see this really young person who was in great shape and they had this like super sudden thing happen and they had open heart surgery and then they'll heal quickly and then they're fine. But yeah, we really take our health for granted unless you have something happen. Or I think that being a nurse gives me a really good perspective and a handle on reality because I see a lot of, take care of a lot of sick people. And I'm like, okay, I really need to be thankful for every day that I am healthy and I can do what I want to do.
Heck yeah. And I'm really stoked that you are the first nurse that's been on here. So yeah, but I'm stoked that, and I'm always interested and surprised sometimes at the different professions and things people do or have done in their life that I've met through DJing and music and all this. Really for me, it's a blessing because I get to learn all these different things or get some exposure and pick up some things other than just music stuff.
But I remember hearing there was a DJ in maybe LA and San Diego based or something who was a doctor. I never met him, but I just had heard about him. Like, oh yeah, did you know so-and-so's a doctor also? I was like, that's really cool.
Armin van Buren, that guy's a lawyer.
What?
Yeah. He's a lawyer. I just watched this Netflix. I had no idea. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that someone out there in that community is a lawyer, but that one I didn't expect. Like, there's a great Netflix documentary. Yeah, I'm almost positive it's him. Yeah, it's he's Dutch. Yeah. Anyway, if I got it wrong, whatever. But there's a Netflix documentary. It is Armin van Buren. I know it is. Because he just did a masterclass thing where he does like producer tutorials and stuff like that. Real soft-spoken guy, and
I saw that advertised. I think, yeah.
Yeah, so it is him, and he was a lawyer first because as far as the documentary shows, his father, I don't know if his father is an attorney or some kind of financier or something, but he basically made him the deal that if he would finish his law degree, which is what he had chosen to do, he was a musician, but if he basically said, look, if you finish your law degree, then go do this music thing, and I'll never, ask you again, as long as you have that.
Yeah. What a great father he had.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
Yeah, and so he finished the law degree, and then while he was practicing or something, like the first year or two, he essentially, he ended up, continuing but producing more for commercial purposes and really getting, obviously his name and 7 times. Whatever the biggest DJ award in the world is, he won it 7 times, whatever that is,
That's so cool. I love it when people do different things, and I think that everything that you do in your life helps you with everything else as well.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Max Cooper?
No. Who is?
Max Cooper is.
I assume it's a guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw him play at Lightning in a Bottle festival years ago, but he's an incredible producer and DJ based out of London. And he tours all over, and he has his PhD in science. He's like a PhD scientist, and that is his background. And
cool.
Talk about being able to fuse worlds together. It has helped him with his music production so much, and I've heard him speak on podcasts and things regarding that and regarding his his science education, and then how he doesn't feel like any of that was a waste of time, but he actually has been able to use that in his productions. So in the way that he creates different dimensions of sound, even like in his live shows, he says, and his projects are like Emergence, I think was this project he had that came from his science brain of like from the cellular level. And anyways, it's pretty cool. So anything that you do, more education is never a bad thing, and anything else that you do is only going to help.
Yeah. Career. Well, for sure. I have a construction engineering degree. I haven't used it in a really long time. Yeah, but I did it for about 5 years out of college, and then I was always doing music, and then probably like about 7 years ago, I guess, 8 years ago, I guess. Maybe 5 years ago, somewhere in there, like things shifted where I could do a lot less of that kind of stuff and more music and whatnot. So it's I think it's cool like to just, for me, like stories like, I'm not even in Armin van Buren's music, but it's so cool to see that kind of stuff because like you were saying about the food drive and maybe some impressions or perceptions people might have about certain things. If they see Burning Man video and they happen to see the wrong one or whatever, and then, their mind gets shaped, right, if they're not really into that, and then that's kind of what they think. But I think similarly with careers that are non-music, but double careers, let's call them, right, double interests, I like to highlight it when it comes up here especially as well, because I think it's really important. I think there's a bit of a perception that that everybody who has become a music superstar, let's say, is somehow a one-trick pony or something. You know,
Yeah.
like they just played music. It's all they did their whole life, and in many cases, it's not true. You know,
Not
in many
usually true.
cases, you know, right? Like a lot of there's a lot of scientists out there and engineers and computer nerds and whatever that you know, clacked code for a while or whatever before they ever even thought about doing music, and then somehow
Yeah,
they
and I think
stumbled
they
into
make
it.
some of the best musicians or best um, producers because the way that their mind is already trained to think, I think really helps them a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I would totally agree with that, and I just think it's important for, you know, people not to shy away from some kind of what may also be a professional passion, you know, or think to give that up or whatever because like you can't be cool and do two things
Yeah,
or three things or whatever. It now in our in this time period, at least for North America, you know, more than any other time we've ever had, like you can multi gig, you know, find jobs with various hours, all kinds of crazy stuff, you know.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's
I
it's
think that
cool.
it really people get in their own way so much. I think. I mean, I was even doing some of that when I first moved back here. I thought, okay, I know that I really want to take music further, but I also want to further my nursing career. And I almost thought I kind of have to pick one, or maybe I just shouldn't do music as much or take myself as seriously with that. I really need to focus on nursing. But I realized that that was just my own limits, and that doesn't matter. You can do multiple things, and you can uh, yeah go further in different directions. And I think once I just released that kind of gate that I had up for myself, I'm like, no, I can do both, you know. And that I swear this shift happened, and I really noticed all of a sudden I was getting more gigs and asked to play out
Yeah,
more.
and did you think that do you think that once you kind of just let sort of all those things, those your what was in your own head go, that they're two your different let's call them careers or different interests also help each other out, like they fuel each other, right? Like
Yes,
it's good mental
exactly.
food. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So although they are two separate things, I definitely noticed a connection with both too. And I've been a lot more open about telling my nursing coworkers that I DJ, which I really kept that under wraps for a while. Like I was
I can
secret
relate
because
to
I'm like,
that.
they're gonna just think I'm this crazy partier, and they're not gonna take me seriously as a nurse now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be bad. But no, like once a couple people started finding out, they were like, that's so cool, Kimberly. That's awesome that you DJ. I want to come see you play sometime. I'm like, really? That's so cool. And so I've really been more open about that, and have found like really good response, and people are like really supportive of it because they see how hard I work. You know, during my day job, I really work hard as a nurse and am involved in different projects and things like that. So they're like, okay, she's not letting it, you know, affect her work. And I have actually had a couple of coworkers come and see me at gigs because they're like, hey, outside of here, I like to go have fun and dance too. So
Yeah, that's
I want to
awesome.
come see you
Well,
play.
that's like, have you heard of these or been to any of these daybreaker parties? I
No,
think
but I
they're
really want to.
yeah, I mean
I
that's a
almost
great example. That's a great example of like showing that there's all. I mean, people aren't up.
yes.
You know, they're not up like taking acid hits. It's. I mean, maybe some are, but I mean, come on,
Maybe
like
some are still up for
like
that.
there's three or four
I
hundred
know.
people clearly on a Wednesday morning. Like they're not. It's not. They're not all there. Like you know
But
what I'm
no, I think
saying.
a lot of them are because that's the whole point of it is that you can have this big, super fun party with music and DJs and dancing and be completely sober. And I think a lot of them, they'll have like, you know, they'll give away healthy juices or
Yeah,
coffee.
they do yoga classes
Yeah.
and then a DJ set and then some sort of, you know, maybe other thing or spiritual stuff or whatever, you know, kind of, they're all different. But yeah, because they just started doing them in San Diego. And
Oh,
yeah, they just started doing them, I think, just this year. They've done like two, I think, or they announced the second one. This guy, Justin Naval, who I had him on here early, you know, like maybe 7 or 8 episodes ago, and he runs this place. He's a partner in this place called Courtyard, which is kind of an overall outside neighborhoody entertainment complex. They do everything, all kinds of entertainment, not just music either, dog walking things, all kinds of stuff. But that one of the things that they're behind is he has kind of an underground, strictly house music related thing that's called the Deep End. But so anyway, he's involved with bringing that
wait, the Deep End
Daybreaker.
in San Diego?
Yeah, Justin Naval. You might have met him or known him.
I've heard of him, but I
Yeah.
definitely the deep end for sure.
Uh-huh.
I know.
Yeah, with the little submarine. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so there's multiple people involved in both things, but I think they're different groups of people. And he's a real cool guy, real mild mannered, and he's very business oriented and loves music too. And he brought the Daybreaker thing there, him and maybe a couple people, but he's certainly the one that talked to me about it. And it's
That is
cool. The
awesome.
first one looked really good, and I think it speaks to what you and I are both saying, is just that this music has come so far. Like, there are enough people that can go dance for a couple hours and then carry on with their normal day on a Wednesday morning to support this. Because I know they're in San Francisco. I've seen them in LA. Now they're in San Diego. I imagine there are other places.
Yeah, and I
So,
know there have been a couple in Denver. I think I just wasn't able to go for some reason yet, but I would totally go to one. So I'm gonna watch out for them. Or if anybody
yeah.
knows where they are in Denver, let me know. I would.
I'll be honest, it was weird to me. Like, I was like, when I first saw it, I think I saw one in LA, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. Like,
Yeah, when I first saw it, I remember I was like, this is weird. But now the more I see it, and it's like huge crowds, like a huge draw that they have. I'm like, no, I want to actually go to one of those.
yeah, I was like, I can't do Burning Man any other time than Burning Man week. I just can't, and that's what that was. Unfortunately, that was my first take on it, but fine. It took me a while to come around, but now I get it, folks.
Me too.
Yeah, I get it. Speaking of Burning Man, and kind of maybe coming back, looping our whole thing back here to us and how we know each other. This is, I think, this photo is from the fruit stand or the veggie party, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, when I posted that picture, you got so many compliments, some public and some DMs to me about your outfit. Yeah, no one even knows that. Yeah, the women didn't even know I'm in the picture. They're just like, dude, who's that? It's like women, not guys asking me. Yeah, they're like, that outfit.
And I'm actually wearing a lot more clothes there than a lot of people I see at Burning Man.
Yeah, totally. That's a great picture, though, and and that's a very
really
tasteful. Yeah, that's a tasteful DJ outfit. You could probably wear that anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, in San Diego, I don't know about Denver, but San Diego.
Yeah. I think I wore that same top in. I got to play. God, this last Burning Man was magical for me. It's like I got to play back to back with DJ Dan and Diva Danielle. Yeah, and Diva Danielle and.
Where was that at? What camp?
We played. That was at. Oh no, not Ego Trip. We all played together, but then we played the time we played back to back, and it was like this super magical night with just I don't know how many thousands of people out there. Crap, I can't think of the name of it. They do the big Slut Garden.
Yeah. I didn't play there. I played there before, but not this year.
Yeah, I actually was just going there to see DJ Dan and Diva Danielle and Fleetwood Mac play there. Back to back, but I was, backstage with them and hanging out. We're all camp members together. And was it Adam or Niles from Fleetwood Mac? I think it was maybe Niles. No, maybe Adam. Anyways, one of them was like, "Hey, do you have your USB with you? You want to work in with us?" I was like, "Oh my God, seriously?" I mean, there were like so many people there, and I was like, "This seriously would be an absolute dream. That would be awesome." That was like the one night that I didn't have my music with me because I just was not expecting to play. I ran back to my camp to grab my
Good for you.
headphones, and I came back. I'm like, I'm here, and they're like, all right, jump on. So it was like, yeah, Diva played 2 songs, and then she's like, all right, jump in, and me, and then like DJ Dan, and then it was just like crazy.
True burner.
I can't believe this is happening. It was so much fun. I don't think I've ever had that much fun DJing. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Slut Garden is an experience. That's a wild one. My buddy,
it is like so well done, and they've got the what do you call it, the flamethrower things, and you can push the buttons and make the flames throw. It's like a crazy getup they have. Yeah,
my buddy Dot Diggler, he used to be out of Seattle and like Portland. I think he's in San Francisco now, but. Buddy of mine through music, he's part of that camp and hooked me up with it the year before. It was a real neat experience playing there. That was cool. And the shadow,
you got to play there too?
Yeah, but a couple years ago, not last year, and like the shadow box dancers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I try to like I told you maybe before we went live. I've been 5 times consecutively to Burning Man, and so like the first 2 years I kind of did. DJing is what got me there. Like I wasn't involved in the burner culture in any way, shape, or form. Like literally DJing is what turned me onto it and got me there through friends that knew me. But so for me, it was a little bit different experience, and maybe similar for you. But for me, like I wasn't going as an attendee, like I was going to DJ, and and you learn like, okay, what it's all about. It's not a festival, this, that, and the other. But aside from all that stuff, what I did realize from a DJ standpoint, as I went subsequent years, was like for me, like I didn't want to play the same places again. So I really tried hard to, because there's a lot of people that want to play a lot of places. So personally, I've been very fortunate to reach out. When I reach out, people answered me. And so, so like subsequent years, I was able to actually play different places. And that's been a big thing for me that's been a big part of my burn, right? Being a lot of fun for me is just being able to experience different camps. And it's not just getting to play them. It's like you get to know these people. It's hard. I think it's hard for people to understand what it's like to play a Burning Man camp party until you do, because there's a lot more to it than right. Like you have to have if it's a camp you don't know anybody, but maybe they know you for some reason, like has been my case with some of them. It's like they're not just gonna if people just hit them up. It's not like you pay to play. Like you can't just right. Like camps aren't gonna just be like, oh, you're the shit, come play. Like it's not like that, or oh, you're so and so, or oh, you're gonna pay us to play. Like there's a billion people want to play, so it's really an honor, privilege to get to play anywhere there and with a crowd and all that stuff. So
yeah, it really is. I had a lot of fun playing quite a bit this past year, and that photo that was taken of you and I there, that was a really fun party too. And there weren't even that many people when I was playing. That was a party in the daytime, afternoon, and there were some people literally like in a line with their plates getting ready to get some organic fruits and veggies. And I'm like, I'm playing to a line of people who are in, gonna go get some food right now.
But there was a good flow though. Don't sell yourself short. There was a good flow and there was a great set. And in fact, after we ate twice, we just went across the street because we felt bad continuing to eat their food. So we went and we weren't in dancing mode. So we went across the street to that bar that had the lawnmower powered margarita machines, and we sat there until your set finished, and then that's when we came over and took a couple pictures with you. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I actually went there right after I played there, and sat up at the little bar and the motor startup. That was fun.
Yeah, that was cool. My I don't know if you remember my friend Glenda, who I was with at the time, the girl with dark hair. We were on the swings and stuff while you were DJing. Yeah, she I met her through the Big Imagination Camp, really that year. Anyway, she came with me down to. We took a trip and went down to Baja, to Ensenada, to the Baja 1000 car race. Nice. It was crazy. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And. Yeah, it was fun. I just threw that out there. She's cool, and it was it's a good example of just the kind of randomness you run into at Burning Man, and then the next thing you know, you're you found new people to go on Baja 1000 adventures.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, there's really nothing else like it for anybody.
Yeah, and we really only got to. She was so busy because we were both part of the core team for the camp build, and that's how we met. And then she was just so busy doing other things and with relationship stuff, boyfriend relationship type stuff, whatever. And that really your party was the only time we actually got to know each other when we weren't drilling screws or doing something like that. So that's why I thought of her when. Because you never know. I thought I'd give you a little background on that because you never know. People show up and you're like, oh, they've probably known each other for 10 years. It's like, no, we just met 20 minutes ago.
That is really cool. I like that you told me that. I do like seeing the whole story from somebody else's perspective.
Yeah, so your party with those big swings and the gas-powered margarita machines, that'll always be like Glenda and mine's friendship story.
Wow.
With you DJing.
I'm so happy I got to be part of that.
Yeah, it was cool. So what else from Burning Man? Anything else from there that was, that was a pretty damn big highlight, but anything else from us here?
Speaking of, I just remembered something that DJ Dan had told me, and maybe advice that I could give to other people who might be excited to DJ there, is that I remember he told me, he's like, I was so excited to DJ and everybody wanted me to play. He said, I remember I used to come to Burning Man, and he said literally in my whatever he'd come in that year, an RV or a yurt or whatever, he's like, I had to make this whole big list and write everything down. You know, actually, I mean, I did that last year, but he's like, it was this really long list of, so I had to keep track of, you know, my gig, what day it was, the location, the time. And he's like, I spent so much time and so much energy at Burning Man just going over the list of where I need to be when. And he's like, I realized that just took up everything. And he's like, finally, you know, one year he's like, what am I doing? Like, I need to enjoy Burning Man. So he said that he will purposely say no to a lot of people asking if he'll play, just because he wants to actually enjoy Burning Man. So he still plays a lot. I think.
Yeah, he does. I was gonna say he still plays like
not as much as he could, for sure. And
that's for sure.
He learned that. He's like, it was crazy. I was sitting there like freaking out in my tent or whatever, like going over this list, like, what am I doing to myself? I need to just have fun. So
yeah, I had
to kind of overextend yourself with DJing at Burning Man, but you definitely want to enjoy Burning Man itself as well. You know?
That is great. That's great advice. Yeah, that is great advice. I was fortunate last year because since I went and did super early build with the camp, the way they worked that at that camp was to anybody who did that kind of super early build had no responsibilities during burn week, which was really cool. So I loaded up with DJ stuff and it wasn't overwhelming because I had no other responsibilities the whole time. And then I stayed an extra week to help tear down. So that was kind of the deal, at least with that camp, which was cool. You know, a lot of work, a lot of fun too. And getting to build that plane, like I didn't know if I had told you that, but I was on the core build team for the plane. So, you know, It's like all these parts come out and you're like, yeah, that's a crazy experience, but that's a whole nother episode.
I know. I was supposed to talk to you more about that sometime. That was cool.
Yeah, I need somebody, the last guests from the last episode, 74, one of them, Navjeet Sarna from San Diego, he co-runs a Burning Man or a burner podcast out of San Diego. So he wants to have me on there to come talk about that. And I think that's the right forum to do it because I never want to talk about it for like 2 hours on here, but I could talk about it for 8 hours if someone wants to.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. That was an incredible project. That's cool.
Yeah, you know how it goes. Yeah, and I guess since you gave a nice big shout out in your burner gigs, the newest one for me this year was in mixing it up. I give a shout out to Opulent Temple because you came by later, and I was kind of I didn't close it out, but someone played after me. I think you came by there like later when maybe even the sun was coming up, but I saw you somewhere. But anyway, shout out to Connie, DJ Icon out of San Francisco because she's a longtime Opulent Templar and Templer, and she hooked that up, and Skrillex was, kind of the main. Opulent Temple always has like these massive DJs play the kind of main time slot, and so I was just stoked to be on that at all. That was a lot of fun, and and it was cool.
Amazing. Opulent Temple. I mean, they just they do an incredible job.
Yeah, and they had I don't know if you know this, but I'll share since you have your fire story from Slut Garden. Opulent Temple they have like a little panel to the left. Have you seen that? Have you ever seen that thing or heard about it? It's like a fire panel. It's right next to the DJ, so they actually come and teach you so that you can press the buttons.
Oh, and that's so cool.
Yeah, and there's one big one in the middle that just says A-bomb, and you just hit it, and the whole entire place literally lights up like someone just dropped a bomb on it.
No way! Oh, how
it's
fun.
Insane. Yeah, I would. I don't have a picture handy, or I'd show it to you, but yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, it's awesome. Well, dang, we've we've gone through the paces. What else? It's awesome, man. I'm glad you cut out the time from your busy nurse life and other things to hang out and chat a bit. I feel like I learned so many more new things about you, Kimberly.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. I guess I don't know. I guess my intention with all of this is to just hopefully inspire other people to just go for what you believe in, and just do what you have fun doing, and don't limit yourself, especially, and then just to keep a balance on everything.
You know what we didn't talk about at all was that I thought was really interesting was the EMA stuff.
Yes, so Electronic Music Alliance. A good way to check them out. They do have Facebook pages, but the best way actually is just their website. We've got a really great website. It's ema-global.org. and Alliance. So that is a nonprofit and amazing, really cool thing that was created by Janine Jordan and Ken Jordan, formerly of the Crystal Method. So it's Ken Jordan and his wife Janine who created this.
That's right. You're friends with them. That's totally right. I remember now.
Longtime friends from the whole music scene in LA. I'm longtime friends with Ken and Scott of the Crystal Method. And now it's Scott just performing their shows.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they ever produce things together still or what.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't. Yeah. I mean, I great shout out to their EMA, and I didn't mention it earlier, and I should have said more about it. But that time period I was telling you, like 2014, 15, when things just kind of went nuts for me. It was all. Like, I mean, every artist does their work and does their things and works hard and hustles in their own way. But it was the Crystal Method that, like through Ken had interacted with me mostly. And then they supported my music for like a whole year on their Sirius satellite show. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no question about it. I used to talk about it all the time. Like, I still talk about it. But, yeah, like, how good of people they are. Like Ken and Janine, like you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Just so down to earth. Amazing. Just such nice people.
Yeah, I would have never imagined, like, I guess I would want to believe that there's a lot of selfless, people at the top of the game out there, but I just never really thought I'd run into any. And and they the Crystal Method as a group at the time, they were exactly that to me with no expectations, and I couldn't have thanked them enough. I mean, just mind-blowing. And she's so cool. I got to hang out with her a few times during those times, and
yeah. That's right. I forgot that we did talk about that. We both know them. Yeah, and I'm glad that you do. And that's a good point, too. People starting out, some people think you have to just, like, I don't know, drag yourself through the mud and go to every after hours and every this or that. And you really don't. The people who I think are really successful, they balance everything. They pick and choose when they go out, who they talk to, and they stay humble and nice, and I think that really goes a long way. I mean, look at the longevity that Crystal Method has had. Oh my God, and they're just really
nice, and still with a slight reconfiguration, let's call it. They're still killing it and doing great things and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I that's great. I'm glad you mentioned that about just the sort of maybe not having to go out necessarily all the time, like pump the brakes a tiny bit, right? Well, because what they really taught me, I mean, everyone's had their party days, their intense days, their up days, their down days, whatever. But what they really taught me through my observing, them and them kind of sharing a bit of their world with me was like, just kind of focus on being you. And it seems simple and cliche, but like musically, like do your thing. And if it sounds good and you want to do it and produce it and put it out. And that's exactly what happened. Like I wasn't sending anything to anybody. No labels, no nothing. I just, Juice Recordings, my label, like was constantly putting music out, and they found it. There was no demo sent, no nothing. It was just so nothing. So that, and sometimes when I tell people that, they're like, they think like there are definitely among the producer communities, there are definitely these stigmatism, these like stereotypes that you have to, that this ridiculous hustle sending shit to 1,000 labels and whatever is like what you got to do, and it's not, because it's quality, not quantity. It's really focusing on what you want to make, and then the right group of fans following, whatever you want to call it, community, finding you finding them, and then it being, if it happens to be something that ends up with a 1 million person audience, then super. If it's 5 person audience, then that may be what it is. But you're doing your thing, and that's what they really taught me. As cliche as it may sound, to learn that later on in someone's kind of career like I did. But yeah, it's amazing, and that's kind of all I do now is just try my best not to pay any attention to any of the rest of it in terms of my music production and that kind of stuff. Just do what I do, and if someone finds it awesome, if they don't, if I spent near as much time trying to hustle shit to people as I did just focusing on making music or finding people to collab with, XYZ, vocalists, producers, whatever, yeah, I would make far less stuff and be far less happy.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it simple. So EMA, Electronic Music Alliance. So Janine Jordan and Ken Jordan, they moved to Costa Rica and they, I think they have like organic farm, and they help schools over there. They're doing all this incredible work for the planet. It's just so cool. And I love that they still have a real passion to keep EMA going. And Janine has been just incredible, just such a sweet heart and just good soul she is. And she's always been so supportive of me, and has been kind of coaching me along with how I can use my events to help communities. I wasn't doing any of this before I met her and started with this. And I was like, I don't know how to raise donations for this. That sounds really scary and complicated. And she's like, I swear, it's like a lot more simple than people think. This is how you do it. And she coached me through how to do it. And now I'm like doing it all the time. And anything that any of the members do, she's so supportive, and she's like, hey, look what this person's doing. And her whole thing is just to inspire other people to help do good things for the people.
What are some examples of speaking about that and the these aspects? What are some examples of how someone who's interested in the donation, that aspect, or just the growth of others aspect of things? What are some examples of people could follow to do better with that or incorporate that?
And that's my whole thing is I like to inspire other, not say, hey, look what I'm doing, but inspire other people to do the same. And I tell people all the time, I swear, that because they're like, oh, that's so cool. You're like at our thing the other night. Oh, that's so cool. You're having people bring, a pair of new socks in for, Denver Rescue Mission. How do you do that? And I'm like, yeah, you can do it too. But events that you go to or that you create, or just even friends events that you go to, you could say, hey, let's do a drive at your event. Cool. And people are so receptive to it. But yeah, it's really simple. I used to think you'd have to contact some place and get all this permission and blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, no, you really just choose a charity, like have people that come to your events help you choose, hey, what's your favorite local shelter or charity that you want to raise donations for? And we don't do any monetary donations. A lot of people are like, can I bring cash? We just do like canned goods, items, things like that. So yeah, all you do is you just pick a place, and a lot of places post their wish list on their websites. So like Denver Rescue Mission socks were on their wish list. They said we really need new, clean, warm socks for our people who come through here. So it's like, perfect.
That is awesome.
Then you just post like, as you're posting for your event, say, hey, don't forget to bring a new pair of socks when you come, and we'll have a little box at the door. And, you don't have to have this whole major donation bin, just a freaking cardboard box.
Yeah.
Make a little sign, socks here or whatever. I mean, really just keep it simple. And then at the end of the night, when you're leaving, you just take your box, and whenever you can later that week, you drop the box of donations off at the chosen, charity, and you just say, hey, we did this event and we raised these items for you, and they're so grateful. So that's
really cool. So did you? So I think you said that you go to, you find some charity type, organizations, and then you go to their website. And a good way is they have lists of things usually that they're looking for. Is that right?
Yeah, most places you go to their website and they will have a wish list of their most needed items. Some other shelter that we raised or had people donate items to, they had on their wish list was toiletry items. So they needed like toothpaste and deodorant for their people, stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
People, and then you post, you just post it to your event leading up to it. Hey, everybody, remember and tell your friends, bring a little travel-sized toothpaste and deodorant with you when you come. Donation box at the door, And, yeah, so it's really easy.
That's cool. I bet they'll also take. I bet the wish lists they vary widely, right? Like I bet there's all kinds of stuff that people think they might not take and that they will take.
Yeah, so that you do kind of want to do. It just takes a couple minutes. Just do a little research before, so you can see if they do have, a need for certain things. And then I've even raised donations for a local animal shelter here. Oh, wow. And so they say, we need cat or dog food or toys, so people could bring in whatever, a dog toy or cat food or dog food, and that's something really easy to do too.
Yeah, awesome. Be part of the solution, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great way to. I like that. I love that you're doing that, and especially the whole tie-in with Ken and Janine and whatnot.
Yeah, it's
I had
cool to
totally
do that.
forgotten about that before we got on here.
Yeah, I had no idea to even do that before I met them and I joined EMA. It's all through, especially Janine has talked to me at length about all of this, and she's just so inspiring. My gosh, she's doing so many amazing things to help the whole planet. Honestly, I could go on and on about her. So I really
My anecdote about Janine is the way I met her was. I went down to a music conference a couple years ago in Miami, and they were down there playing, and I was doing some different gigs. But anyway, since I knew they were going to be down there, I connected with them in person there. This was the first time we met in person, and they were using music already and stuff. But anyway, so I went over to their hotel to meet him, and Ken was coordinating with me. And he and Janine both come down, and he introduces, everybody and this kind of stuff. And then she was basically just like down for a couple minutes, and Ken's like, "Yeah, she's making sure you're okay."
really.
Yeah, and I was like, "Man, I hope I'm like, whew, I passed the test because otherwise they might have just both turned around and walked back up." And then she went back up, and then Ken hung out for I don't know 20 or 30 minutes, and just we talked about all kinds of stuff and a little anecdote I'll share for any producer DJ folks listening that now or later was that. I wasn't all passive in that whole relationship. He gave me the few minutes of his time, and a lesson I learned a long time ago was, be prepared to ask for what you are interested in, yes. and because he did ask me, and people who are busy, their time is limited. Yes. I don't want to say valuable necessarily because it's different for everybody, but their time is limited. They've got schedules. And he, sure enough, we were sitting there talking, bullshitting about whatever and this and that and music, and then he was just like straight up, "So what can I do for you?" And I was like, "Oh, there's my chance." And I kid you not, I was ready. I was like, I had listened. I was a fan anyway, but I had listened to their recent album, and I was just like, "Ken, I want to remix these 3 songs," and named them for him, told him why, and he was like, "No problem. I'll have so and so get in touch with the Stems. Great to meet you." And he's like, "Come out to the party tonight. We'll put you on the guest list." And that's how we met. And it was just like, wow. You can imagine my mind was like.
That is awesome. And I don't think that's really common. I've never really heard him just randomly saying that he'll help people. In fact, I think years ago I remember him saying, like, a lot of people ask me, try to, they want me to help them, but it's like, I don't know how. Like, how do you want me to help you? So by you saying that tells me that you were very specific and had really good intentions behind what you were doing, and you knew what you wanted to do, and that's why he was able to help you, because you were clear about what you were looking for.
I was a fanboy, and I knew that, and I knew, like, okay, I can be a fanboy with this, but at the same time, like, this is, sometimes you have to step back, and my mom, over the years has coached me in not tooting my own horn enough, and she's like, look, sometimes you got to step back and, like, recognize, like, okay, this is a great opportunity, and not feel bad about being prepared to, like, be ready if something, professional comes out of it, in a situation. Yeah. And there was no weirdness about it at all. He was expecting it. So it was like, and I was, so, and that completely changed my music career. There's no question about it. I can never, I have no other story I could ever give in terms of, like, 5 levels up in literally overnight. It was like that kind of experience. And
wow. Oh, yeah. That's so cool. I'm so happy to hear that.
So, yeah, and you being friends with her and him, I share a little more about it than I might normally when someone else is on here, because I know you care for them and they care for you, and just expressing when I run into people who know them well, and I know they may talk again sometime, I always express my gratitude. I can't talk enough about that, as you can tell.
Yeah, me too. Oh, that's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So cool. Well, hey, where the thing I don't think I ever asked you is where's the best place for people to find you as we kind of wrap it up?
I would say, so I have a Facebook page, Kimberly St. John, and I don't have a separate artist page. I feel like I said before, I don't like to, maybe I'll get to the point where I need to create a separate page or whatever, but at this point I really like to, like I said, not compartmentalize things. I just like, this is who I am. This is all of me. And this is everything personal and music stuff's all going to be just on my Facebook page.
All right.
And then SoundCloud. But if you want to just hear particularly music, I have a Mixcloud as well. I feel like a lot of people use Mixcloud more than SoundCloud. For some reason, I tend to use SoundCloud more, but I do have both. SoundCloud is, I think it's KSJ Sound.
KSJ Sound, all one word?
Yeah, KSJ Sound.
Okay.
SoundCloud, but I think you can just search Kimberly St. John on SoundCloud.
Yeah, I'll put the link in I do a little like show notes webpage. You've seen some of those. I'll do that, a few days, within a week or so, we'll get that out, and I'll make sure I put that in there. What's the Mixcloud one?
Sorry?
The Mixcloud one? What's that one?
I don't know.
Oh, Google it, people.
Oh God, yeah, Kimberly
That's
St.
all
John.
good.
Find me on Mixcloud as well.
Yeah.
And on Beatport, I buy tracks on Beatport, and I have an artist page on Beatport. Again,
cool.
It's under my name, that I put out charts of some of my favorite new tracks that I purchase on Beatport.
Nice.
Yes,
I'm going to start train spotting that.
I do. And just speaking of purchasing, a real quick note is I'm very supportive of that. I do have a lot of producer friends who are more than happy, and they're like, hey, let me give you my new tracks I'm working on. You're playing out a lot. If you like it, play it out. And I always offer to purchase the tracks, even if it's like a good friend of mine. I'm like, let me buy it. I want to support what you're doing. A lot of the times people don't let me. They're like, no, I'm emailing you the link right now. Just take it. But
right.
I really believe in purchasing when you can to support. And songs are not that expensive. So I just want to say that, buy tracks. I do. I don't expect to get anything for free.
Yeah, I do as well.
Good.
Footnote, I do as well.
Good. What else was I going to say? I guess that's
cool.
Like I
Good
said,
to find you.
Collective on Facebook, and then.
Oh right, yeah, we mentioned that, but I'll put that link in there as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then the EMA, EMA-global.org.
And EMA. Yeah.
And there's Janine has posted some things on that EMA website that I've been involved with about the community and things. Hopefully, will inspire others.
Yeah, that's cool. Maybe, hopefully one day we'll. It's like I do these episodes and they're all different in different ways, but sometimes I'm like, man, I gotta have like a whole nother show with this person, just like to talk about, I don't know, food or nursing or EMA or all sorts of shit.
I would love to.
The EMA show. That would be so fun one day to get you and Janine.
Yoga and meditation. We could do a whole thing on that too.
Oh, we didn't even go there in our health and fitness section of the show. Wow. It is why it's the variety show. You didn't ask, but some people do ask. Like, why'd you call it that? I'm like, well, kind of because I was in love with like the throwback to like the super old school black and white variety shows that were really variety shows.
Oh, nice! I love that.
I love those, and big fan of like musicians in the '50s that had those. I think it's a piece it's something we don't have nowadays, and it was a different format. But they would get on, and like Johnny Cash had one, and it was like one of the most popular variety shows in the world. Yeah, Johnny Cash. He had Man in Black. He would sit there on his stool and play.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, he would sit there on his stool and play new music that people hadn't heard, and then stuff people had heard, and he would have guests. It was his way of, he would have unknowns or people that had toured with him or whatever. People from his bands that went solo, whatever the case, come on and have their 10 minutes of fame, like one of the original, like, of those kind of like, talk show combined with artist type things, except that he himself was a famous musician.
Some old shows of his that he did. I'm sure you can find him somewhere.
You can. Yeah, you can YouTube it for sure. And there were other artists that, I'm pretty sure I'll get this factoid right. I won't go on too much longer about it, but I'm pretty sure that Johnny Cash is the one who exposed Bob Dylan.
Really?
On his show. Yeah, he's old. He's older than, he's a different, slightly older group and different music styles. But and then I think either Dylan covered something of Cash's or didn't cover it, but he songwrote, vice versa maybe. But they had a professional relationship that carried on from that. He tells that story in a Netflix documentary, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. I something that's just kind of a part of my daily routine is that I on my drive to work every single morning, I listen to a podcast called The Tim Ferriss Show.
Okay.
Tim Ferriss wrote this book called 4-Hour Workweek, and a lot of other books as well. But it's not even about him. His show, I like it because he brings on these guests who are at the top of their game in a really wide variety of different
cool.
careers. And it's really interesting the way that that kind of reminds me of a variety thing. And he said he was talking to a guest recently in one of his podcasts that I was listening to, who he said that people told him, "Oh, you're beating a dead horse. This is like old already, like doing more of a variety style with the podcast." And he's like, "No." And his guest agreed. This is actually just the beginning of this, and it's going to go in so many different directions. And people actually want to know more than just exactly what you know the person for. They want to know more about what the person's daily habits and routines are, and what makes this person tick. And I just love the format of the show. And like I said, I listen to it literally every morning. Yeah.
Well, I'll listen to it some and pull some tips for myself from that too. Learn some. I'm sure he's a master at at chatting with people and understanding them and flow and all.
Incredible guests. I mean, people who are CEOs of startups and just incredibly successful people. But the way that he interviews them is so different than in a lot of ways. He doesn't focus on what people know them for, like, oh, how did you start Uber, or how did this whatever. He's like, I want to know what you do when you wake up. I want to know
what makes a person like you tick. Yeah.
It's really interesting.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, hey, today, I mean, with this with you, I learned so many things, and I'm really glad we got to do this. I mean, you're a great person and great, you're DJing that I've heard, and I know you're doing a variety of things with the music and the collective, and it's awesome. And again, thanks for cutting out a few hours so we could just hang out and get this together and do it up and giving me someone to talk to while I'm in Guadalajara. Speak English.
Right. I keep forgetting you're in Guadalajara. Have fun.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, if you want to see my buddy who I'm down here with, he lives here. He did maybe episode 35 or so, and he did a whole episode on tequila.
Cool.
Which is the state that Guadalajara is in, Jalisco, and the tequila region. So, yeah, he did a whole episode on how tequila is made and all that. So if you're curious at all about that stuff,
that is fascinating. I actually would love to hear
Yeah, he's a neat guy. That one's like 45 minutes or something. And he has a whole slide deck he goes through, professional presentation style. It's pretty awesome.
That is way cool. I will definitely check that out. That's really cool.
It's fun. But yeah, awesome. And I can't say enough good things about you. You're rocking it for yourself and for people in general, and clearly a great example for the ladies out there. I don't like to get into separating one from the other, but role models are role models, and you're a good one. So I love it.
Wes. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I hope so.
You bet. And I'll spread the word with it. And let me know how any other ways I can help or share stuff to Denver or whatever.
Thank you. Well, you said it's important to ask for what you want, and I'm actually not usually good at doing that because I'm by nature a helper. I like to help people.
Yeah.
But one thing I intend to do pretty soon here is start reaching out to people more about my goal this year is I'd like to play out in other cities more. So because I've got friends in LA and Philly, different places, so I just think it would be really fun to go play out more on weekends in some different cities. That's kind of my goal for this year. So I'm going to start kind of reaching out to people I already know and say, hey, you may not even know I want to or am able to do this, but this is kind of what I want to do more. So kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah. And anytime, regardless of perception of genres of music or anything else, anytime, I know people probably in all the same cities I do, but there's probably different people, and absolutely anytime hit me up and I'll be like, I know some other people in addition to those or whatever, I'll connect you with them for sure.
Cool. Thanks.
You bet. All right.
And then also I want to get more into, I feel like the last couple of years, I just moved back here and it was all about getting out and building and making connections and all that. And now I actually had a good friend of mine give me some good advice recently of Kimberly, I see all this stuff you're doing. It's okay I don't think you're going to be missing out on anything FOMO if you just maybe chill a little bit and just
Ah!
let the flowers grow that you've been planting. Like, you've really been working hard. It's okay. And I'm like, so I kind of feel like that. Like, I just feel like this is going to be a year. And here I'm like, now I want to play in other cities. But I feel like it's going to be a year to focus more on, letting things kind of happen that I've already planted. And I'd like, part of that is maybe staying home a little bit more. And I want to start producing more and getting more into that. I feel like that's kind of a long time coming, and I haven't allowed myself the time to do that. So I want to stay home and just produce a little
Well,
bit.
if you can make it through nursing school, you can definitely get to where you can produce, music like in Ableton and this kind of thing. Even if you're not I don't know if you have any musical background, formal, but
I play acoustic guitar. I actually have it right here. And that's another thing I'd like to start playing my guitar a little bit more too. It's just sort of sitting here collecting dust. It's really sad.
damn life, Kimberly, when you're good at so many things, like it just, you got to pick which ones to focus on, right?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think
Awesome.
organization too. That's another my goal for this new year. I want to get more organized. I think that will help me and allow me the time to be able to do more of what I want to do. I feel like the last year or so has just been such a whirlwind of me not having time to really do that. I'm just kind of like, okay, do this, do that. And now it's like, okay, organize. Like, I just cleaned my bathroom, my bedroom, and all this, organized my closet the other day. Good.
Well, those really, organization skills will definitely help you in the production realm. That's for sure. So, yeah. And being on time, which you obviously already are. Like, not all my guests are on time, but yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah, I would say I'm always on time for everything.
It's like, pro. Just show up. That's what I tell people. Half the things you'll get in life are just showing up, man. Because like a lot of people don't even show up, and sometimes the only person that's there for the opportunity may not even have the skills of a bunch of other people, but the person that needs the collab or whatever is like, well, all right, well, you're the only one interested. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there you go. Well, awesome. Cool. Well, let's any other shout outs or whatever, we'll wrap it up and
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I could go on in different tangents forever, but this has been super fun. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Again, glad you could we could get it worked out and do a little swap there. Fantastic.
Me too.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. I'm going to sign off. Thanks anybody who came in during, in and out, and listens to the podcast through Apple Podcasts later. That's picking up. That's like pretty crazy. Like that's picking up quite a bit with people going there to because they can hear it on their own time later, as podcasts. I mean, that's part of the big awesomeness of it. So I'm pretty stoked because that's why I actually started it, was to actually be a podcast, not a live stream. But you got to, but you got to record it somehow. So I figured, well, we'll just record it live and whoever listens is cool. But that's why I do the page and everything later, because I'm really, I think far more people are interested in kind of listening to the audio on their own time. Right. And so that has really always been the goal. And so that's kind of picking up growth. Whereas this, like I said, people come in and out and do whatever.
Yeah,
so,
and I'll try to get a mix to you. Actually, just the set that I played last night at Triangle ended up being so much fun, and I just felt like such a fun set. And I found out that it was recorded, so I'll try to get that.
Awesome! Recorded. Yeah, and I'll put a link in the show notes for you. Cool. Yeah, cool. All right, people. Thank you, Kimberly. We're gonna sign off. Stay classy, yo.